Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Phil's Recap and Review. It's The Sopranos, Season 4, Episode 12, and the season finale, Episode 13, Eloise, and, of course, one of the best episodes. I'll get off the bat, say one of my favorite episodes of The Sopranos, Whitecaps. But I'm not going to say favorite. I should say most effective episodes, because there's nothing positive about these episodes of The Sopranos. These are two dark episodes of The Sopranos. Speaking of a dark personality, no, I'm kidding. I have with me.
It's fair.
I have with me my co-host Matt. Happy New Year, Matt. Great to have you here tonight.
Happy New Year. I'm so sorry, Phil. We couldn't make this happen last week. We had house issues, car issues.
Oh, no, whatever
everything.
issues. We are the issues program, so it makes a lot of sense. But yeah, we didn't quite finish season 4 last year, but we're damn close, so I'm taking this as a victory for us, Matt. So if you guys want to join us, if you're watching this anytime afterwards, because we don't expect to have a big audience with us tonight, but we do appreciate anyone that's jumping on in there in the live chat. Share your thoughts about these episodes of The Sopranos. But if you haven't joined us on one of these, basically what we're going to do is watch these two episodes back to back, talk about some of our thoughts, behind the scenes stuff, information, just do our own commentary cast for these episodes of The Sopranos. And it's going to be fun because these are two quotable episodes. This is the end of, we've talked about this a lot, Matt, and we're kind of congested here talking about a lot of episodes at once. This is maybe the best season of The Sopranos, beginning to end. Now that we're reaching the end here, there's not a bad episode through most of it.
Having said that, I don't love the first episode.
But I don't think you're supposed to love this episode. This is a dark, weird episode that you're supposed to almost feel what Carmela's feeling. Like, feel her disgust.
Are you talking about Whitecaps, or are you talking about this first one?
The first one.
Okay.
Eloise. Whitecaps, I'll challenge you with that. That's a good episode, but it is.
Oh no, that's a great episode. I'm saying the first one.
Yeah, the first one I almost want to skip. I almost want to go right into Whitecaps because I'm not excited to watch it again. But it is the end and the culmination of the whole Furio and Carmela arc from that standpoint, which I guess is somewhat important to what happens in the next episode. And holy mother grabbing hell, we do have people in the live bleeping chat right now. We got Shemp Hemp, one of the best names in all of the YouTube comments and chats. Shemp Hemp. And
Phil, tell me you're an old Jew without telling me you're an old Jew.
Hey,
I love the name Shemp Hemp.
I love Shemp Hemp. It's great. And of course, co-host of the Issues program, actor extraordinaire, TikTok Supremer. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know about that last one. But the Walking David is in the live chat. And we got Mark Antoine Houston, who's in there too. Great to see all of you guys. I have a special surprise when we get up to a few more people in the live chat to give you guys something I can give you. I'm touching you, touching me, touching you. Sweet Shemp Hemp. So I love you, Shemp Hemp. I'm not going to rush this process, Mark, but we're going to get into this episode pretty soon here because I want to get into the second episode.
Now, just FYI, Phil, I watched this first episode maybe 2 weeks ago when I thought we were going to actually have this time. Me too. I watched the other one like 2 days ago, so I'm really fresh on Whitecaps, but some of this is going to be a little bit of, And
that is fine. I mean, I think episode 12 here, Eloise, is just it's a to use a parlance of the times here. How do I sound old without sounding old? It's cringy. It's Carmela's whole thing in this episode is cringy.
Oh yeah,
like when she's at the dinner table and she's arguing with everyone. She's the out of touch. Oh my God, you guys are idiots.
Oh, that's right. This is the Billy Budd episode.
Yeah, this is the Billy Budd episode. AJ is like dumbing ass his way through this entire episode. You got isn't Carmine Jr. in this episode too? Dumbass the second.
It's debacle. Yeah, he mispronounces everything.
Yeah, you've got it's a very dumbass kind of episode here. Oh, we got Bodega Buds who's in the live chat too. So Bodega Buds, I want to introduce you to Shemp Hemp. You guys should start a company.
It's Bodega Buds.
Bodega Buds
and Shemp Hemp.
And membership gifting. Let me give you gifting 5 memberships right now to the channel. Welcome to you've been gifted memberships. Eric, Cam, some stylized, Steph Snow. You're all members of Filthy Issues Guy. Welcome to the crew. I think I'm gonna give 5 more away. Happy New Year. A little bit later. I get 10 a month. I can give you guys memberships. Matt and I are gonna record a little bit of as long as I don't keep Matt too long, a little bit of a bonus content after the episode's over to release to you guys, talking about some other random stuff. Okay, so let's get into this episode because I don't want to wait too much longer. And so if you want to watch it with us, you can watch it with us. Queue up your HBOs or your Amazons, whatever you're watching these shows on. But you don't have to. Matt and I will probably give as much context as we can. But yeah, this first episode, it's a lot of dumbassery, and we're supposed to, I think, feel the way Carmela feels, where we're cut off from getting a conclusion to what's actually going to happen. This is also the episode that Furio almost kills Tony, and we can talk about whether Furio would get away with that. So let's get into this, Matt.
I'm remembering all of this now. Cousin Brian, I forgot. Yes, that's all this episode. Yeah. All right.
And of course, everyone, we'll make sure we give you guys context. And if you want to call on in 781-990-8509, you can possibly talk to us live or leave a voicemail. Ding! I heard a ding. I don't know what that little ring was. Did you hear that? I don't know where that came.
I did. No. Wasn't for me.
I don't know where it came from, Matt, but someone just gave us some love. Oh, again. Oh no. I don't even know where that audio is coming from, but okay, so let's get into this episode. Are you ready, Matt? You ready to cue this up?
I'm ready.
We're going to go 3, 2, 1
and then hit play.
Then hit play.
Of we're both on HBO Max, if that makes a difference for where you're.
Okay.
I guess it's just Max, it's not HBO
No,
Max anymore.
Call it. It's Mama.
How dare I?
It's Mama named it HBO Max. I'm gonna call it HBO Max. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, play. My TV's slow. What is the damn bell? I don't know what that is, Matt. It's freaking me out.
I'm way ahead of you.
Oh, you're way ahead of me?
I'm good. I'll catch up. Or reverse catch up.
I'll
slow down.
You do that, Matt. Do you know what it probably was? Do you know what that bells were? It was probably me gifting the memberships, it registering that we just got new members. So welcome. And we got Why So Curious. It's not a Sopranos cast without Why So Curious. And we also get a lot of another thing in this episode, and yeah, I'm talking about the whole episode before we watch it, but just to keep eyes out, this is a pretty damn good Paulie Walnuts episode. Paulie comes to grips with a lot of the insane crap that he's been doing, playing both sides of the coin, and he chokes out a senior citizen.
God, that's another awkward part of this, yeah.
This is an awkward, cringy episode, Matt. That's why I don't like it. And I don't think this is one of those David Chase, Andy Kaufman episodes where he's wanting to make us feel uncomfortable and want us to make us feel all sorts of cringy, uncomfortable vibes. And that's what the F I feel from this episode. Sorry. Sorry for holding back my F.
The whole interaction of Tony and the people in Meadows' apartment.
Yeah. And Tony is so oblivious until the moment of truth later in the second episode. And these do kind of play like a prequel into another situation. So let's say a couple of hellos before this episode starts. Studio 11, thank you so much, Uncle D. Great to have you in the live chat. Why So Curious? It's amazing to have you. Shemp, Hemp, and The Walking David with a super chat donation. Happy New Year. Shout out to all the Soprano lovers. Oh, and Junior Soprano in the pizzas. So Walking David, thank you, buddy. I love you. Thank you. Can't wait to get you on. Joe and I are going to be covering the Rick Grimes series, and we hope to have you on if you can make it. Bodega, Buds, Sopranos. It may be the most iconic intro of television history. I think the other ones it would compare to would be other HBO shows. Some people may argue the Game of Thrones intro. There's other amazing intros that have come from shows on Netflix. The Daredevil one was really cool, but I think The Sopranos is, with the song and the driving in, is probably one of the most iconic intros in television history, if not the most, for a drama anyways. There's some sitcoms that are high up there, like the beginning of Cheers or that extra long Seinfeld intro song.
Or even Malcolm in the Middle song. That's another song.
Yep.
That, you just knew exactly what it was.
Or the Beverly Hills 90210 or
obviously the Simpsons.
Simpsons is a huge one.
Because you would always be watching for those little
South Park
changes that were happening in it. Yeah,
South Park's another huge one too, but The Simpsons was a big one, especially in its time. Oh, look at the heat! Look at the heat between Carmela. Do you buy it, Matt? Like we compliment The Sopranos a lot on its layering, on its acting, on its connection. Do you buy now that we're at the end of the line here? Do you buy the romance between Furio Junta and Carmela Soprano? Does it make sense to you? Because it doesn't always to me. I don't think they have the best chemistry.
It doesn't all. No, they don't have the best chemistry. It doesn't always to me either. She's much better at it than he is.
Yeah, she had better chemistry with the priest.
Yeah,
like I bought it with the priest to a certain extent. Like I don't know. I don't buy it so much with him. I think
But I buy it from her end. I don't buy it from his end. I think he's the one that's like struggling to pull it off.
But maybe he's trying to play it a little cool. He's playing it cool. Hey, it's SM Down is Matt's family. Yeah, Matt got a lot of his stuff together. He had some problems that we had to postpone it, but everything's going good in the house of Matt at the moment. But we're sending lots of love to his wonderful dog who does make an appearance in this episode, the beautiful Rosalie Aprio. So we wish Rosalie all the best as and feeling as good as possible. Okay, so let me fix this because I think because right before we were about to start, sorry we got a slightly late start, like literally 2 seconds before we started the show, my internet crashed and I left Matt alone in a big.
Yeah, I didn't. It would have been a total Garth, like from beginning to end.
Yeah, it was a bad situation. So let's go over here. Oh, thank you, Walk and David. We will definitely touch base about it. Yeah, the chat isn't working there for some reason. So that comes back. She mentions the skin condition there for a second. It's interesting how that comes back later on, and when he is getting into the fight with her later in Whitecaps, she says something about he thinks she's mad because he said something to her mother about the psoriasis. So Furio's frustration or anger with Tony starts building because he starts thinking she doesn't deserve this. And this is, I think, the first time through all of this, Furio starts actually acting like Furio, where you can see that he's starting to fantasize about murdering Tony.
Oh, here's your boy. SM Down. I did not close the door, but I did turn the light off. The dogs need to be able to come in and go out.
He's just the best. I think one thing The Sopranos did better than most shows is never overstay the welcome for a character like that, Matt. You know, there's at times where certain characters in certain shows do a good job, but then they overstay their welcome a little bit. Yeah. I don't think he ever overstays his welcome. They give you just enough of him, just enough of that, just enough pussy.
I mean, how much is too much? Little Carmine, I don't know.
Could you deal with a whole show of Little Carmine producing movies?
No, it's the worst.
Better Call Carmine. Could you deal with a spinoff? Better Call Carmine.
No, like when Cleaver happens, it's brutal. There's like way too much Carmine for Little Carmine Jr.
That's what I'm saying. Could you do a spinoff where it's like I don't think you've watched Ray Donovan, but it's like sort of Sopranos Ray Donovan, where it's all about like making movies and mafia mixed with the movies, like a spinoff with Carmine in the porn world, trying to make Cleaver too. You wouldn't.
It's so awful. Oh yeah, he does make porn in this. Right?
Oh, see, Jay was just trying to help you out. He thought it was a door to the outside. People could break in behind you.
I appreciate it. Little do you know, up in Vermont, it's been like dark out for 3 hours at this
Matt, point. There's another element I want to talk about that they were talking a little bit about in.
Hold on, this is a weird move. Before we do this is a weird move he does right here, where he was like all best friends with Tony, which is why he's up here. And now he just starts talking shit about Tony.
Right, because he doesn't like that Carmine.
They're like complimenting
Tony. But there's also the other side of this, Matt, is Johnny Sack trying to set up Tony to kill Carmine, and then he says he'll cover him with the families and stuff, and it's just basically setting him up to throw him to the wolves. Like he's trying to trap him, essentially. And even in this situation, he's trying to make Carmine even more pissed off to enhance the situation. Like Carmine Jr. is doing exactly what Johnny wanted him to there. You could read that in that situation too, because he wants to keep perpetuating this. So Tony eventually does make some sort of big mistake. Excuse me. Ooh, that's better. I was wondering why I felt so dark. Yeah, I'm sorry. Like, I just don't buy the chemistry between them. And part of the problem is I think she has better chemistry with a lot of other people on the show, and so that leads me to believe you're right. It's Furio. It's on the actor that played Furio. He doesn't quite connect.
If he ever leaned in at one point to like kiss her or do anything with it, it would be so awkward, and it would be because of him.
Yeah. Because I think he plays as an actor. He played the previous season tough badass Furio, swearing at people.
Furio that smacks kids around and
swears in Italian. Women. Yeah, he plays that better than the ponytailed romantic. Just because you have a ponytail doesn't mean you can play a goddamn romantic. We got the Dwarf Burger Swamp Beard in the live chat. The scene where Carmine explains yes, it's painful. Every scene with him is some painful. And that's a big part of some television or some art. I think most things we see that are painful on The Sopranos are intentionally painful.
Let's just say once again, they nail what like 3 women in their 80 years old would say.
Especially, all 3 of them are amazing. All 3 of them give incredibly accurate, real performances.
Yeah.
And Nucci, Paulie's mother, is an incredible actress. She's so good in this role. I know that woman. I used to deliver that woman's paper. She was one of my tutors, or she hemmed my pants back in the day. Oh no! Oh no! Oh my God!
Hey, here's a question. Where is this right now? Are they in a casino or are they in his casino? They must be in their casino that they have somewhere.
Yeah, I think they're in their casino. I think this is one of the private casinos. No, they're away at a casino. Isn't this where the helicopter thing happens? So they're at I think they're at some sort of like Mohegan Sun, Foxwoods kind of place.
Yeah, but why would they all be in that room together and like act like they own the place? I don't know.
Because this connects to the episode with the when they need the help to stop the whole problem with it's a Ralphie episode. And
I know the episode.
So I think they have an inn at this casino now, so they can go here and party here or something like that. I think that's part of it, but I could be wrong.
But they do, though. They definitely have their own place, though.
Is this Atlantic City?
And now we're supposed to know this shit. We have no idea. This is a Google afterwards. I don't know.
They're far enough away that they need to take a helicopter back home, or that they can take a helicopter back home,
or that they just want to take the helicopter ride.
They don't even really want to. It's a weird scene where
that's another part of this I hate. Why does he not want to take him in the helicopter? Why is Cousin Brian such a mess?
Sonic, your boy, says, I buy Carmela and Furio for $1. Dwarf Burger says, Furio and Carmela did not have good chemistry. You're right. Ponytail does not make a romantic character. Believe me, I know. I'm sitting here single.
Sitting here with ponytails for years.
Exactly. I've ponytails for years, Matt. I'm in fact, you know what? I'm gonna put it in a ponytail right now in honor of Furio's last episode. Give me a second. She is on. This their whole vibe is so perfect.
We had tickets to the producers.
And Paulie is such a cheap bastard. They mentioned this in the Talking Sopranos too. Like he doesn't pay. He pays for parking and gas. Is that what he pays? He doesn't even pay for his own meal. He makes them buy his meal.
Oh yeah, he pays for the two of them. This is for me and my ma. Those are my ma's pocket house rolls.
That's a great scene.
So we'll get that one in the second.
Again, another big awkward scene here where Carmela is always in competition. She's high right now and happy. Contrast this to the later scene when we see her at the dinner table after her and Furio have broken. No problem. I just want to make it clear again that no problem I have with the Furio Carmela stuff has to do with Edie's performance about it. She kills this performance. It's so believable the way you can just see her having that physical pain when you lose someone like that. Like you can feel it internally.
The way her face lights up when he's there, the way her face drops when he's not at the door, when she's like getting her hair ready before he shows up. It's all believable.
And to your point, Sonic, I was hoping that Furio and Carmela's relationship went in even further. Part of the reason maybe why I dislike it, I'm not as high on it, is that when I first watched it, I think I was more engaged in it. But watching it back on replays, knowing that it basically somewhat ends in a nothing burger, we do get the big reveal at the end in the scene in Whitecaps, but there's no closure to that scene. I mean, I guess the closure is that Sopranos closure where you don't really, it's like the Russian guy, the Russian in the woods. You don't get the actual closure of the situation.
All right, you are 100% right. This is a casino in Connecticut.
Right, it's supposed to be Foxwoods.
That's not the chief guy, the one that he had like the super American name, but that's the other guy that introduced him to that. That's his friend.
Right. So this is supposed to be Foxwoods or Mohegan's
Son. Right, one of the two.
That's what I thought. Absolutely, Americus. You can see her whole. They were talking about this in the Talking Sopranos, and they referred to it as you want to learn like see good acting, like an example of it. It's like in Team America. Alec Baldwin, act. I am acting. This is the best acting I've ever seen in my life. This really is like her scene in Whitecaps that we'll get to eventually, and Carmela in these two episodes is some of Edie's best work for real. But Sonic, I would have liked it better if I got any conclusion on it. I do think there should have been some scene in a later Sopranos thing. Again, this is second guessing. People are going to say this is cringe that I say this. But a scene where we see Tony trying to get to Furio and seeing that he has no hope of getting to him. Like sending fucking Benny to Italy. Go get Furio, and Furio's like, get out of here, Benny. Like you have 5 seconds to leave this room or you're dead. Like just to show how much power that Furio would wield in Italy. I'm sure he runs the family. I would have liked to get back to him maybe once, even in the last season. One connective tissue to Furio wouldn't have been bad. Like we got back to Junior. I've sat next to a helicopter before. I could attest that you could not pee that close to a helicopter. It would blow right into you. There's too much force. That's not possible.
Yeah, but you're frail and thin.
Right, I'm not like Tony Soprano. Tony Soprano's more of a man, so he can pee next to a helicopter. Okay, fair.
It's like that scene from Indiana Jones. The huge guy isn't affected by the play, well, until he pushes him into it.
So what happens? Let's break this down for a second here, Matt. What happens if Furio kills Tony right there? Does he get away with it? Can he blame it on an accident? Is that a victimless crimes in the Soprano world right there?
Yeah, but what does he do afterwards? Like,
oh my god!
Sober Furio doesn't do that. No, but I mean, like, so what is he gonna do? Go marry? Like, he can't go be with Carmela. Like,
Carmela would
kill him.
Carmela would turn on him too. If he came back with like I killed Tony, Carmela would be like, what?
Yeah. You no more have to worry. Like, she wouldn't want to hear it.
No, she'd hate every goddamn second of it.
Plus, he lives by all the rules and stuff, which is why he didn't do it.
But could he have gotten away with it if it wasn't for those stinking kids? No. Could he have gotten away with it? I think so. I personally think so.
Oh, they were drunk enough and no one was paying attention. He could have actually gotten away with it, and it just been Tony fell into the...
Does Tony remember? I don't think so. It doesn't seem like at any point Tony remembers that situation. Not here, not when Furio disappears. He doesn't say at another point, Furio freaked out and pushed me towards the propeller when talking about it at a later date.
Well, no, he does. He disappears right after this.
He does, but do you think that Tony remembers what happened the night before, or he was too damn drunk?
I don't think he remembers that he was. I think he was drunk enough that he might have actually thought that Furio was saving him.
Right. Like in the way the memory works it. I agree with that. And I love how Carmela is jealous right there of like what Furio was doing. She's like, Furio was with you? He had a girl too? What's going on? She's got that I'm Carmela and I'm pissed off look on her face. I love Edie Falco's acting. Like, this isn't about like I have a crush on.
Do you like her with the Karen cut or not?
No, I prefer the way she looks in season 5. I think is I think Edie, like Carmela at. Oh
yeah, Bodega. Thanks. We talked right over it. Obviously, he said my memory's a little hazy.
Oh, he did. Okay, thank you, Americus. But I don't necessarily dislike it. But there's other looks of Carmela I enjoy more. But I do think it shows off her face from an acting standpoint, and if it was an artistic choice, I think it's a smart artistic choice. And she's such a douchebag to Meadow. And basically this all leads up to Carmela trying to pick a fight with Meadow. It's almost akin to the Tony and Janice scene when Janice has been going through it, a little different, a little bit more evil.
No, that's like the most fucked up thing. It's a pretty fucked up thing.
But it's still fucked up when your mother does this too. She keeps poking Meadow to start a fight with her when they sit down to dinner and to $70 tea under Eloise. She's like Meadow's taking the high road, and she just keeps going low until she's like, fine, I'll just leave, and till she can go all teenager again and give Carmela the high ground. It's a kind of fucked up. It's not quite what Tony did, obviously, but it's what somebody that was married to somebody like Tony might approximate what they do, similar to what she does with Zegler, is that his name, the teacher later, where you used your weapon that you had. We'll get to that later, but the guy from batteries aren't included. That's all. I always know that. Like,
that's where he's from. I don't even remember.
I believe he was like one of the main actors, but we'll get to him later. Let's go in the live chat. I agree, Sonic. I am a. As an actress and just on a superficial level as well, I think Edie's incredibly beautiful. John Haymaker, great to see John Haymaker in the live chat. America's so great. The rot of crime and corruption affects everyone in this damn show. It does, and we see it firsthand with Brian. So this scene is interesting too. Again, John is kind of almost excited and giddy that he's giving Tony bad news here because he knows he's going to use it as an opportunity later to counterbalance that, to encourage Tony to kill Carmine. You can just see the wheels moving in Johnny. Is Johnny the smartest tactician that we see on The Sopranos from a mob family standpoint? Is it Tony?
He has those weak moments though, with when he beats up that guy that knows Ralph, where he lets himself. He loses his cool. Like, if he was really the best, he wouldn't lose his cool at any point.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I do think that.
But to your point, he probably still is. Yes.
Yeah. Who would be the other people that we would have in that conversation? Tony
for smartest, for best.
Tony
would be Tony.
Best strategy.
Junior.
But Tony, I was talking to my cousin Gotti about this earlier today. Tony almost within. What we see on the show is allowed it a precog ability. Like, he sees things, he has dreams about things. He dreamed about the fish, which triggered the pussy thing. Like Tony almost has supernatural skills of stuff that pops up sometimes. You don't know if it's strategy or luck or Elvis coming to him in a dream or something. But yes, from what we see, Tony Jr. Is Junior up there, or is Junior Ubats and never really?
No, at this point he is. At some point in his life, though, he was a smart guy and knows he has a lot of like institutional knowledge from doing it for 40, 50 years that like other people wouldn't have. He's just seen so much from like old people to new people and just like knows that you can only get through experience.
That is a great great suggestion, Jay, and something I will look into for next time, so we can maybe I could do that in a way that I start a timer on the screen that is the exact length of the episode, and then have it ticking along on the screen at the same time so people know the timestamp if they're checking in at some point. That is an excellent idea. Thank you, producer Jay. Junior has, yeah, exactly. Junior's seen enough mistakes to be Junior. I don't know why the chat isn't displaying on the live screen. I had a disconnection before the show, as I mentioned, and because of that, it's not. It malfunctioned in the chat, and it's not letting me display it right now.
Phil and I see it though. I don't know. Like, does everyone else? Everyone else must see it.
No, they see it in the chat, but usually I have it on the screen below where below where we're at. But if people are wondering why that's not there right now. So this is our first meeting of Finn, the dentist, who plays
Dr. Yankums, I believe is the
who I guess is Meadows' most prominent boyfriend besides Jackie Jr. in the series. And I like Finn.
Well, because he actually plays into like so many different parts of this.
I mean Jackie Jr. does too, but Finn plays
Finn's across many episodes. I mean,
in seasons.
He goes into season 6.
Yep.
Well into season 6.
So Carmela is in an awful mood right now. She is just horrible. This is the most this might be the cringiest scene in all of the Sopranos history. Like this scene from beginning to end through the whole dinner party.
And like the scene, the whole for lack of a better term, to use, as you said, the parlance of our times, the wokeness of the whole Billy Budd thing is like, for this to have been done 20 years ago is great.
Oh, great to see David in the live chat. Thank you, David, so much, buddy. I love you. Oh, my goodness.
Now, when these guys are in here, like when little Polly's in here, are they like, you think they're scared at any point? Like they're not made guys.
I don't think so. I mean, I think you got to think in those moments, those guys, what we've maybe at core somewhere, like we learn more about the way those guys think when we get into that Eugene episode later on. But for the most part, what we think of those guys is they're thugs that have, that are basically tools to be used by Tony.
And none of them are made.
No. So they probably just are trying to impress to be able to get made, or maybe some of them aren't full Italian, so they can't be made.
So poor.
Oh, the princess. We got the princess here. I forgot that. Yeah, it's Dr. Yankum, the painless dentist.
Dr. Yankum,
the painless dentist. Oh. Yeah, they're lower rank guys that are just sort of trying to make their bones in a lot of ways.
Poor like little Paulie though. Him and Benny Faziano, the two of them.
Criminal master. Don't insult him.
They are
criminal mastermind.
But just like Jesse Pinkman, they get their ass kicked so many times in this show.
Yes, and I think
little Paulie gets like
fucked up.
What's his name? Eugene beats the shit out of him.
Doesn't he get thrown out a window by Christopher?
Christopher throws him out of the window. He gets beat up by Eugene at the site. He smashes him in the face with a bottle. And Benny Faziano too. Benny gets his ass kicked by everyone.
Yeah, Benny gets his ass kicked a lot. I mean, until Tony says that eventually in the end season, the last season, I believe he says, he tries to get Tony. He's like, it's about time you stop beating people up, and I think the last time he kind of puts himself in that position. What the hell is that?
That's a bold strategy, Phil.
Oh no. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. What the hell was that? That was a little copyright infringement right there, man. I don't know what that was. That was a commercial. Sorry, everybody.
That was a weird take by Tony there. He says to the kid, he goes, "You're not gay?" So,
no,
I don't know.
Because he isn't cool. He's trying to play that stern dad where I'm not cool that my daughter's living with a straight guy. So he assumed that if that dude's living there with the two girls, then he must.
Yeah, but he doesn't like gay guys, so he wouldn't want him around gay guys either. So that's the only reason it's weird.
I think I don't think he really minds. I think the protection of his daughter's vagina is more important than his prejudices.
Than his homophobia? Okay.
It's homophobia, yes. I think on the scale of what's important to Tony Soprano, the protection of his daughter's vagina versus his racist homophobia, I think it would be the protection of his daughter's vagina, personally.
No, that's fair.
Yeah, in this house, it's 1955. Exactly. Exactly, Americus. Sorry. I love you guys in the chat. You guys keep me laughing. Oh, my goodness. Sorry. Do you ever watch
do I ever watch you act like a 4-year-old and laugh at a giant penis? Yes, I do.
Did you ever watch the Netflix the documentary series?
Just so you all know what just happened, Phil was just cracking up uncontrollably at the giant penis that was drawn across the gondola boat that they had.
Some of you might know what I'm talking about here, but have you ever seen the movie the Netflix series American Vandal?
No.
You should watch it, Matt. I think you would really enjoy it. I don't want to tell you any more.
I did watch a show that you suggested to me.
BoJack Horseman?
Please, that's a big. I watched Shrinking.
Oh yeah, do you like it?
Yeah, I liked it less as it went on, but I did like it.
Fair. Harrison Ford's great in it. This is a underrated scene between the two of them. Maybe one of the best Pauly and Silvio scenes, and
just the two of them together. Yes.
Yeah, and best scene in the episode for me. One of Silvio's best scenes too. The way he's talking shit and like talking real to Pauly here, and Pauly's confidence, because at this point right now he thinks he has a boss in his pocket.
Yeah.
And Pauly with balls is funny, and he's just so cocky in this scene. Like,
yeah, and he feels untouchable because he's like, he knows no one's gonna fuck with him. He knows he's a hard ass if he needs to be.
Vinny Del Pino, exactly. Vinny Del Pino. I agree with that, Matt, 100%. And I saw American Vandal. Yeah, American Vandal is very fun. I don't know if you liked it, John Haymaker, but especially season 1 was pretty damn hilarious. So yeah, Pauly is, and I mean, this is great. That moments like that is why The Sopranos is the greatest show. And in this scene, we get that line, only as good as your last envelope. You're a wormy cocksucker. Oh, you're going to be perceived. In that one scene between the two of them, Matt, you have like a million Soprano memes and like things that get said to people in the Reddit every day, like just you wormy cocksucker, you don't know how you're being perceived, those kind of things. There's a lot of this might be a weird episode, but there's a lot of classic lines in this episode.
No, and that is a great scene.
Yeah, that is a great scene. Look at this fish lip cock. Oh, and last time we talked about, I said that I thought he died before season 5. He doesn't. He dies, I think, season 5, episode 2. So theoretically, the next one of these we do will be Carmine's death. So it wasn't tonight's episode or in tonight's two-parter. It's going to be the next one that we do.
She's like crying here.
Date for color tile. I love Rosalie in this scene. Color tile, really? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she says to him before, and you guys aren't fucking?
So did you fuck? Yeah, that's basically what she said. So did you guys fuck? And she's like, wait a minute, you didn't do anything? I love her reaction to this. I'll be right back.
Oh, I forgot. I'm fully Garth right now. For those of you who don't know where we are in the episode, Carmela and Rosalie are out having dinner at what I'm assuming is Vesuvius. Phil, we get the Parker House rolls.
What was that?
We get the Parker House rolls coming here.
Oh, we do. This is a great moment.
Love throwing that Boston accent on Parker House rolls.
I love how Edie plays that scene. She freaks out, and the way that Ro kind of just has this, oh come on, kind of vibe with the whole situation is perfect too.
Yeah, Amicus. My dog's name is Rosalie April. She's also 15, about to be 15 years old. We can't hear anything. But... Oh my God! And this is, I mean, I know that's been done a million times, but this is literally what old ladies are like at restaurants.
Here for mommy. Pocket house rolls.
I have 100 I need to break. Come on, Mom. Shoot, I forgot to cash my check. Don't you have direct deposit?
See, this is one of those moments where you always see the mafia working. You know, like Paulie makes notes of this situation right here, that she mentions the money, takes just mental account right there.
Yeah, let me ask you this. If he didn't... I don't think he robs her if...
No, but but that's still something you put in your back pocket.
Yeah, of course.
You know, you hold that in there a little bit. Rosalie is one of my favorites too, just because she has like zero bullshit. And fuck you, Paulie. Like, you don't pay for all these people. Like, come on. Like, he's such a cheap bastard.
I know. Like, at least be nice to him. You forced them by threatening their children.
Yeah.
To hang out with your mom, and then you're going to be an asshole to them.
Exactly. Not even buy them fucking dinner.
At any point, they could just say, you know, I'm only hanging out with you because...
That being said, I've definitely been at lunches when I used to go out with my grandmother or my mother and some of their friends when I was younger, where they would, you know, they take all the sugars, they take all the, you know,
100%,
to dump all those creamers from when Friendly's was a big one. To go to Friendly's in the pewter pot and just like dump the whole thing in one. Sopranos, Paulie stealing, but screaming my fucking boss. That's coming up, I believe. This is a great scene too. Frankly, I'm shocked and horrified. Oh, yeah. Give me a break. Come on, what the fuck? Lotus, leave it. Yeah, I'm watching. Oh, we got our first text of the evening from the amazing Gotti, who says, Rosalie always has her friends back. It's Gotti. I agree. She always does, but she's also one of those friends that is always 100% honest. Like, she doesn't bullshit. I've mentioned this before, but Eugene was originally auditioned for the role of Ralphie. I don't think he would have been a good Ralphie, but he's good in this role.
No, he was before. He was... Oh, maybe it was earlier on. He got made this. He's the one that gets made with Christopher. They get made together at the same time.
I believe he auditioned for Ralphie, though. I thought
he could have easily.
My mom would take all the sugar packets, but didn't put the sugar in her coffee. Yep. No, my mother and grandmother would pocket everything. Sometimes silverware.
Oh, my grandmother was all about that sweet and low. Old school.
The napkins.
The pink packages.
Whenever there were cloth napkins or something like that, she would pocket the napkins. Nosy, eat your mango. I don't know if Gotti's in the live chat too. He was I don't know if he remembers that too, but my mother would always steal pillows from hotels all the time. So Carmela is having trouble here. And again, I mentioned this before. I believe it from Carmela's end, and I'm glad that a lot of the big weightlifting of this is her doing it alone. I still don't. The juice isn't quite worth the squeeze. This is one of the few Sopranos storylines I don't feel like is justified just because of the chemistry issue. They could have cast
and they
somebody
kept
else.
It going. There were many times to get out of it earlier on.
But I think they really wanted to do a storyline like this, and they were searching for it. That's why they tried to do it with the priest. They tried to do it with
he's the easiest one to
Danny
do it with,
Scatino's freaking brother-in-law.
Oh yeah.
God, he's yep. Anything that was nailed down. Yep, 100%. More my mom than Nana, but they definitely both did it. I would take shots of those. I must admit, I've said this before. There was a stretch where I lived off stealing from Wendy's. Like, I'd go in there and they didn't have ketchup packets, but they had like the ketchup pump. And it was when I was this girl Sarah Z that I lived at her house for a little bit when I ran away from home, and I was living off Wendy's. It was like 6 weeks, and I was living off Wendy's ketchup packets. I slept in Kids Cove a couple of nights, but I'd go into Wendy's and I'd go get those, not ketchup packets, those little white, they'd have these like little white containers, and you'd be able to like pump the ketchup.
For people that don't know what it was all about, that Wendy's Super Bar was like
in the Super Sal Bar,
big part of our childhood. Like there was the pasta bar, and then there was the Mexican bar. And none of it was good.
No. I'm the garlic bread.
That garlic bread was like it wasn't good garlic bread, but it was so buttery that you'd eat it.
It was stale dough. They used like the stale bread.
Oh, it
bread
was hard,
from the day
but
before.
I would still pound it, and it's why I'm still a fat fuck today. So.
I would grab a couple of those, but I basically lived off that. So this is an interesting. The ketchup cup, Scotty. I lived off the ketchup cups for 6 weeks. When my cans of SpaghettiOs that I stole from the house ran out. But this is the scene I'm talking about, Matt, where Meadow is being like a respectable sort of young lady in this situation, being very, and trying to be adult here and whatever. And Carmela is just picking a fight. Carmela is straight up picking a fight, and she wants to argue. And I'm wearing my hair in a ponytail now in honor of Furio. And like I said,
and Carmela has no idea, or at this point, she still has no idea why her mom's upset.
So Edie, can I be a fill-in? No, I'm sorry. But yeah, she has no clue. She does suss it out though. Eventually,
she has to talk with AJ, and AJ lets her know
because
she's a woman that would understand it.
And AJ's dumb and doesn't quite figure it out. Figure it out himself.
And he's young. He's young. Like he wouldn't know that's a.
Yeah, he wouldn't think about it from his mother. People don't think about their parents like that. But she totally figures it out.
Hey, Dwarf Burger, Dwarf Burger definitely worked there.
Oh, Dwarf Burger.
My friends worked there. I worked there for 2 weeks and only 2 weeks. But I did work there for 2 weeks.
Dwarf Burger producer Nick worked there, and I think
Joe Dirty Locks.
Joe Dirty Locks worked there as well.
And that's just people, but you guys would know. We know another 20 people. That
Troy worked there.
Dan Horn worked there.
Dan Horn worked. Yep, a lot of our friends worked there. So now I'm gonna leave. What if I just go to California? Like she brings back that.
Yeah, but Meadow's a little bitch too, though. Like in general,
she can be, but she kind of grows out of it. I think she kind of grows out of it to a certain extent, and I think Carmela sort of gets pissed off about it. She's right now she's pissed off that her daughter has love.
And I think Meadow also kind of just sort of accepts that her dad.
There it is. There's the chat.
Expects that her dad is who he is, or accepts it, and doesn't with her mom. Like expects more out of her mom. She sort of gives up on Tony. Like he's just some Goomba that like is never gonna.
She's one of the few people that calls Carmela on her talking out of both sides of her ass kind of shit. Where she's like, she even says it in the next episode. You ate shit from him forever. I was distracted for a while.
Speaking of awkward moments, or cringe moments,
this is great. This is great. And
so for everyone that's not watching, this is Paulie finding out that Carmine Sr. has no clue who the fuck he is.
And I will say this is probably some of the best acting that Tony Sirico does. Again, a lot of things for me anyways with acting is showing, not telling, not necessarily saying something. It's seeing it within the person's face, feeling that real feeling of embarrassment and humiliation. And Tony Sirico, you can just see that humiliation in this moment right there as his whole world comes crashing in.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That right there, that moment of you have no clue who the fuck I am.
Like, look, just the way he plays this to when he walks in the bathroom, he's like, shit. I fucked up. Exactly. I fucked up
so bad.
So bad. Like, I cannot believe it.
And it's not only like he was skating and now he really fucked up. He thought he was on top of everything. He thought, like, I've got everyone played against each other. I can get whatever I want.
And there we go. Here's 5 more gifts for you guys. We got Fruit. We got Moonlight. We got Stuart James and Sean. We're all gifted.
And what a sad moment that is right there. She sees a... For those of you who haven't seen this episode in a long time, Carmela gets a postcard with a picture of the Coliseum on the front. And she's like, oh my God, this must be Furio. And it's an ad for an Italian like hair salon.
And we got Gotti in the live mother grabbing chat. It's Gotti. I switched to the live chat. Remember what Rosalie said to Carmela about AJ when Tony was shot? What did she say? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. What she said in that situation. Tell us. Was it? Was it something positive about him, or was it like he's being a little crap? I'm trying to remember. I don't remember season 6 as well as I remember other seasons. I'm excited to get back.
Part of that is because I haven't gone. Like, Phil, if you're going to just turn on, it's a random night, you're just going to watch an episode of The Sopranos, you're almost never throwing on a season 6 episode.
I like season 5 a lot more than you do, but season 6 is the one I know the least back and forth.
Just because I've never gone and rewatched it because it was.
I've rewatched it a few times. I've rewatched it a few times, but I just don't know it as backwards and forwards as I know.
But I'll just like turn on a random, season 3 episode or random season 2 episode from time to time.
John Haymaker, he bent him over his lap and slapped him and spun him around on his butthole. He destroyed Mr. Walnuts. And Paulie knows it.
For all the talk we just said about Johnny Sack being the ultimate
manipulator
or tactician. He had to know at some point Paulie was going to find out, or does he just not give it?
He doesn't give a shit. It's in that situation. There's a moment in a Mad Men episode that a guy who's married is at a whorehouse, and he walks out and he sees his father-in-law at the whorehouse, and then he's like, "Oh shit, what do I do?" And then his buddy says, "Oh, you don't have to worry. You're both in a situation where you can't admit this. Because you're in a, but eventually he actually gets screwed. The father-in-law says it and then calls his bluff. But in that situation, Johnny Sack knows he has Paulie in a situation where he can't admit that. What can Paulie do? What the with right. Paulie finds out, like, what can he do? Can he go to Tony? He'll get killed. Can he go to him and start a fight with him? Johnny will wipe him out in a second. There's literally nothing Paulie can do. By
the way, that's the most realistic thing AJ ever does with her.
The fart.
His brother and sister, he's ripping ass to get.
To me, Matt, this might be an unpopular opinion here. This is my favorite stage of AJ. I feel like he's out of his annoying young douchey thing, and he's in his believable teenager phase.
Yeah, because then AJ later.
Another
reason I can't stand season 6.
Season
really
6, season 6 AJ is the most insufferable AJ. I'm with you on that one. Paulie going in here. This reminds me of when I stole weed from my from somebody once. I'm trying to steal a bag of weed and.
Wait, Phil, you killed an old woman over a
bag
of weed?
I did. You haven't seen what happened to Miss Bloom, have you? I love how he tries to talk his way out of this too.
Yeah.
Do you think there was any way she walks out of here alive? Yeah, I don't think he went there. I don't think he intended to kill her until she.
No, he just wanted to take all of her money, and that was it.
Dystopia says, or Gotti says,
he thought he saw her car not being here. That's why he went in there. It's because her car wasn't there. But
it's funny, my mind auto-corrected your name in the chat, Gotti, to Dystopia. Dystope says, Gotti says, Carmela said to Ro, Ro never talked that way about Jackie. Oh, and Ro says, what do you think I'm talking to you like this for? Yes, she gets into that whole thing where Ro says, well, you never called Jackie Jr. on his stuff. Well, that's, see what happened to him. You need to call AJ on his crap. So, Paulie, what... I guess they were talking about this a little bit in the Talking Sopranos. Tony, they wanted him to choke her out, and Tony Sirico said, "I can't choke out an old lady. People won't like me." So he decided to smother her with a pillow instead.
And it's a quick smothering. There's no way she dies that quickly. This is a 20-second smothering.
No, but isn't that just a funny, weird Tony Sirico thing where he said, "I can't choke her, but I'll smother her with a pillow."
Yeah, can't choke her. I'm not an animal.
And if people don't know, because you might think acting, blah blah blah, what I've learned most from the Talking Sopranos, because it's not a perfect podcast, I do recommend it, it's worth listening to, but the thing you learn most from it, besides how much Steve Sciarippa hates Robert De Niro, is that Tony Sirico is a lot like Paulie Walnuts in real life. They're almost the same person. His apartment, they designed it like Tony Sirico's apartment. All those little quirks, washing his hands, the weird superstitions, the weird things he say. Most of it is is actually
just him being him.
Him being him. That's who Tony Sirico is.
Having said that, he has a great sense of comedic timing because he lets himself like in the whole.
So does
Barons, lets his hair get all crazy.
So does Lou Ferrigno and Mr. T. You know, like they know who they are on screen, and they hit their marks. You know, like I'm puny god. You know, like Lou Ferrigno knows who he is as the Hulk. But I've never seen you take a hard line with Jackie. Yeah, why are you talking about? Yeah, absolutely. Gotti, thank you so much for checking on in, and thank you, producer, co-host Gotti. As Paulie gets freaked out that Tony's about to talk to Johnny Sack, he decides he has to ingrain himself, go full team Tony 100%. As we get back into this is the end of the episode. I'm trying to remember if anything else happens in this episode. This is when Tony tells her that he's been to therapy. And it's interesting to me that this is the first that she's heard of this. Like that they kept him going to therapy for a secret for so long. Oh, excuse me. Oh my god! Yeah, the liquid went down the wrong chute. Oh my goodness!
Well, and it's like Tony knows she's going through shit. But he has no idea why. He thinks it's anything.
No, he thinks it's because the mom's going through cirrhosis, and he also mentions later in a different scene that he thinks she's going through menopause, like she's starting to go through the change.
Yeah.
You knew that, didn't you? Oh my god!
And I love how right here, like he uses therapy as an stupid people, not that Tony's stupid, but sometimes what a stupid person will take one line of something that they can understand. He takes things from therapy, doesn't understand them, and repeats them. Like,
all the time.
All the time, constantly. It's one of those tropes to the Sopranos that really works. Like in the Sons of Anarchy when someone says, Jesus Christ. Every show has their weird tropes. Tony takes things intelligently that Melfi says to him and says them in fucked up ways. Side note about this particular episode, she is in the next episode for a brief moment, but this is in a world where Tony has quit therapy, so we get no Melfi in this episode, or not really in the next episode. He calls her, and she doesn't pick up the phone. So it's an interesting moment where we get a couple of episodes at the climax of a season where she's not a part of it, where Lorraine Bracco isn't really on the show. I definitely miss it a little bit.
Because you get a thing for her.
I do. I love. Okay, so this was. If Tony, I mentioned this earlier, Matt, but let's get into the actual question of it. If Tony goes through with this and does kill Carmine, does Johnny sell him to the river to the rest of the five families? Or does he cover him there? I think he's.
I don't think so, because I don't think he does, because I think he hasn't made it that point. He mentions this in the next episode. He's getting killed financially by this.
Right, but I think in a fight. But if you're into that point, it's almost like De Niro and Goodfellas. If he gets to that point and he gets that power, then at that point his only heir is Tony. And if he kills Tony in that situation,
no, because he's got to deal with Carmine Jr. If he kills Tony, he still has to deal with the rest of Tony's crew. He still has to deal with Junior.
Fair points.
Their bond really is probably from their days of both being number twos to Jackie and Carmine, respectively,
or even before that with Old Man DeMeo or whatever. They probably have a childhood connection where when Tony had his little childhood crew, we're ignoring Many Saints with like Silvio and Ralphie. And
what's Many Saints?
I don't know. I'm thinking about New Orleans for some reason, Matt.
I thought you were.
No. New Orleans.
It's like talking about Rocky V, things that just never happened.
No, listen. Tommy Gunn existed because.
Shh, let it go.
Listen, Sly might hate that movie, but I really like. What's
this look on Tony's face as he just realizes
he got asked to whack a boss of the five family.
Yeah.
Tony would have outsourced it from Italy. He actually isn't the setup that he outsources it through Christopher's heroin dudes.
Yes.
That
I believe the politically correct term was Moulignan is who he does it.
Yeah, through like with the heroin situation with
right, which is crazy the way he ends up doing it. He did outsource something, got outsourced to Italy. That was when they went after Phil.
Yeah, when they got the lookalike, which is we'll get to that. That's freaking hilarious.
They're like whatever it was. Are they speaking Armenian?
The many girls of Icelandic air. Yeah, she is the Gumar that never is named, but she keeps popping back up. Good call, John Haymaker. We keep getting the Icelandic the Icelandic stewardess. Steward. I couldn't think of the word stewardess. That's not a word I've said in many years. Okay, so Carmela's full on hating her daughter here. And
it's flight attendant. That's why we don't say stewardess anymore. We say flight attendant.
I know. Is that a wrong word? Okay.
I just said Moulignan. Like I'm the one going to hell. Don't worry about it. But I'm quoting the show. I've never used that in my life, like outside of quoting.
I've never heard that. Like I've been around some fucking horrible people that have said some pretty fucking toxic shit, but I've never actually heard that word in the real world. That's a Soprano word for me.
There is another word I've heard. Tony used it again today. He said the word zip to describe Furio.
Yeah, it's a dude from Italy. I've heard that.
It is, right? Well, no, you probably
Italy.
have because you're half Italian, but they also use it earlier it's that zip. It's that zip Furio, right? When he shows up and they're in their like boxer shorts and he says they suck each other's dicks or something about Calogero and whoever else it is.
Yeah, the idiots, the two dumbasses, the proto Jackie Juniors. That's what I call them.
The Wabistic studs.
The Wabistic studs. Good, absolutely. So she is disgusted and horrified, but he eventually ingrains her. If you are watching,
Phil, are you letting this go?
I'm letting this go. If you're watching this with us, just let it run through into the next episode. I'm gonna go and refill my drink as we get.
No, I have to run away for a second too.
You go first, and I'll hold it down, Matt.
No, but I have to. All right, I'll be back.
You just go. You'll miss the theme. Go. You'll miss the theme, Matt. Be over with it. Okay, so everyone, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We're getting into our next episode of The Sopranos. Our next episode is Whitecaps, which is our season 4 finale. We've got two more seasons of this after this to get through the rest of the Sopranos episode. Let me talk a little bit about some other stuff that's going to be going on this channel coming up pretty soon. Joe and I will eventually be getting back to Invincible when that finally comes back sometime in this year. But I'm going to be away for a week. I'm going to be in Northern California from the 10th to the 17th. But when I get back, I'm going to talk a little bit about True Detective. And then Joe and I will be going back to the Walking Dead universe and talking about the Rick Grimes and Michonne series coming up, I believe, in February. And The Boys is coming back at some point soon, too. We'll be talking about The Boys as well. Tony and I will be back doing Escaping from... After Tony is going on a vacation as well, I believe, to go check stuff out for the convention. And when we get back, probably end of January or so, we'll get back to doing the From stuff as well. And that'll be coming up. And who knows whatever other shows will be popping up along the way. But that's what we got coming up right now. I wish I could, John Haymaker. I wish I could. I wish I had that ability right now as we lead into the final episode of season 4. As Carmela's at the doctor's office, she's not feeling very well. She's a sick puppy right now. She's one sick puppy. And Tony can't be fucked for this. He doesn't care. But he is doing a trick here. Because he's setting this up to show her Whitecaps. He's thinking as another ring, as another situation, as a way of repairing it without working on it, is buying her a house on the shore. And at the same time, we got our good buddy Christopher Moltisanti coming out of rehab. And we got our feds. We got a little sign of our fed guys here. And I love how Tony deals with Christopher eventually in this scene, or when he meets up with him, he's like, "Are you sober?" "Yep." "Oh, so you're not doing junk anymore?" "Yeah, I'm sober." "That's right." He's an awful doctor. Cusimano. Fuck this guy. Dr. Kuza asshole. That's what I gotta say.
You might be looking at viral syndrome, maybe
Mono?
stress off the charts lately, like all of us.
She definitely does.
Major change of any kind.
And it's funny, once he does that, it does make her feel better. She is on the road back to healing and forgetting about Furio, as Rosalie, who is our kind of truth sayer in a lot of ways, basically calls it out that she's going to forget about it pretty damn soon. And she doesn't, I'm not going to say she forgets about it, but she does get to a point relatively soon where she's okay with everything. And it isn't until we get the scene with Irina calling and kind of fucking up the whole situation that ruins everything or whatever, or busts Tony, or kind of sets her back to be the straw that broke the camel's back. And again, I talked about this a little bit with Gotti earlier today, but everything that happens in this episode when it comes to his relationship destroying is Tony Soprano making stupid mistakes. Stupid mistakes.
It's a sale, John. I need clothes for Italy.
And this is how you know, though, that he really is like hard up financially when he's like, no, we can't.
Bottom line is I'll be losing money every day the Esplanade is shut down.
We should try to go.
Yeah, he doesn't want to say, he'll never say no to Jenny. But yeah, it's tough with Carmela in this episode, and in the way Tony basically did this all to himself, Matt. He caused all of this with stupid mistakes, with having sex with the one with not Irina, I forget her
Irina's
name.
cousin.
Irina's cousin.
Svetlana?
Yes, that is Svetlana. And then on top of that, what he did to Zellman in front of Irina that he didn't have to do, so he became impotent, and that pissed him off. And then the worst of all,
which Tony must have known was going to happen,
or that's his intention. And
right.
And then after that, you choose to go have sex with her cousin, but ultimately it all came down to bad luck that he got busted by that other girl, and Svetlana chose to take out FICA and other federal withholdings. That's really what this all comes down to.
Are you leaving? Oh, he just Garthed me and didn't even tell me. Nice. So I don't know what Phil was saying when I was away. I do think these are his real intentions here. He plans on doing this to try to keep the family together, maybe to cheer Carmela up, definitely to keep AJ in you see how excited all of them are when they go there. Lots of John F. Kennedy references in this show throughout. Most awkward, of course, is his dad's Guma singing "Happy Birthday, Mr. President." He did. He literally did. He just went to black. He should have made his screen black so we could have seen that.
Now, I think I kind of talked myself in while I was pouring my drink into liking the Furio and Carmela situation because of this, Matt. I don't think it's about Furio at all. I think it basically comes down to Furio could be anybody. Carmela's just looking for some way to get away from Tony.
Yeah, but they could have just had a better actor doing it, or the right actor doing it.
They could have, but I think if Irina doesn't call, Carmela moves on from Furio pretty easily eventually, and then goes on to somebody else eventually. Maybe.
But there is a moment, but you see those moments between Danny Scatino's brother-in-law. That's who it was. That's what the relationship was.
She had really good chemistry with that actor.
When you see those moments of them hooking up or them about to, and all those moments, you are like, it is palpable. You feel it. Even if they didn't do it, you know it was about to happen or felt like it was going to happen. You never feel like that with Furio. How awkward would it have been if they actually hooked up? It would have been so awkward if you watched. Imagine those two faces hooking up. It would have been completely uncomfortable.
America said I left mid-sentence, surprised the screen didn't just turn black.
Yeah, that's what they said. They said you pulled the Sopranos and left mid-sentence. Like we should have made it screen black when you left. Because I was just sitting here in Garthland, and you didn't even say you were leaving. You just got up and left, and I was like, oh shit.
That's why Carmela had a thing for Father. Yeah, she just sort of had a thing for anybody, and she obviously has chemistry with that actor too, because they had worked together for years before. Oh God, they forgot something. I actually dealt with something today for the first time in a while that I went into a store and I ordered something, and they gave me exactly like complete wrong thing. I didn't check it. I got home and I opened up what I got, and I was like, oh my God, I got what is this? Like, you sat in front of me and I told you what to order, and I'm stupid enough that I didn't notice it or check it or something. I called, and then I'm letting the phone ring, and I'm like, what am I hoping to accomplish here? And then I just hung up. I'm like, oh fuck it. I lost today.
Where was it? Do you mind if I ask?
It was a bagel place. I ordered a certain.
Is it a bagel place run by Brazilians?
Is that Bagel World?
Yeah, they're all run by the Bagel Worlds are owned and run by Brazilians.
Yeah, it was.
And the bagels are delicious. So like,
they're amazing. And
yeah, that's no knock that it's a Brazilian bagel.
No, it's amazing.
They're the best bagels. They're the best bagels in a very like Jewish part of Massachusetts.
And she was they were just ignoring me. And I was like, oh, is that the right thing? And yeah. They're very like the Seinfeld. I don't want to say this word on YouTube these days. Like the soup thing, the soup guy. No soup for you. They're very much like that in there. Like, you're just like, you get your meal and you get the fuck out of there.
Salem or Route 1?
Salem. And I got home and I opened the bag and they gave me like not anything to do with what I ordered.
Son of a bitch.
Like nothing like what I ordered.
And it's not cheap. It's a real expensive.
No. I wasted too much money. But that's beside the point. I was gonna go.
Hey, Chris, you also worked at Wendy's.
Oh yeah, yes, my drummer friend. Okay, so Carmela wakes up in the middle of the night, and her mind's already going Carmela board. So she's, oh, you're not gonna be hurt, and she's found her next thing. At this point, she's over Furio. At this point,
yep, she's over Furio.
It's done.
I mean, how do you not like that house? If you thought you could afford it,
dude,
and someone said,
dude, that'd be amazing.
You want a house on? Yeah, of course, you'd be all over it. Especially if you already got the Stugatz boat. Dude,
when we were that young, we had those kind of champagne dreams. Imagine getting for us, that would be the equivalent of getting like a house on Little's Point or something like that.
Phil, I was from Lynn. I didn't even have those dreams until I'd been in Swampscott for like a lot of years. I didn't even know those were things. I got to go to parties at those places. And I was like, what the fuck? Yeah, as soon as I moved to Swampscott, I did.
Yeah, you probably spent more time with John H. And
I did, but it was like, you know,
on the compound.
Oh, I lived over there.
Yeah, that place was ridiculous. And
it had old, like, they literally had old like servants' quarters.
Yeah, and we've talked about this before. And Jesse H as well had a very ridiculous setup. I remember at Jesse H's bar mitzvah was like one of the craziest events I'd ever been to.
Yeah.
And I ran through a glass door at that party. Do you remember that by chance?
I do not remember that. I was there. I do not remember you running through a glass door.
Yeah, I ran through a glass door.
I remember recording a song in the booth that they had there with Mike Grossman. That's what I remember.
Yeah, they had like the putting on the Ritz booth.
Yeah. I did not. I had rich friends later, Devin.
Okay.
No, dude, but Devin, you didn't know
okay,
me when I was like
Nahant, kid.
that moved. Yeah, seriously, Nahant.
Okay, Nahant,
Land of the Sopranos.
Living on the beach, walking. Come on.
Dude, my family's from like the Highlands in Lynn. Like that's where I was when I was a little kid. It wasn't until I moved.
Devin was such a Nirvana fan that he got his parents to buy a house on that street.
They did.
Yeah. Okay, so I love how in this scene right here that we start to this connects back to like the Richie Aprile stuff and like the fact that they have to meet in Office Depot and Home Depot or in Staples and shit. Like the guys that those old dudes you see walking around, those old dudes, they're like my age. The guys my age that you see walking around stores like this, the old guys like me, I'm actually in the mafia. You know, if you see me and Joe Dirty Locks walking around at Staples.
Oh, they definitely are.
We're definitely in the mafia. America's.
Looks like, is that a Party City right there? It looks like, or something.
I think it's called an Office Depot is what it's called, which is basically a Staples. Americus, it really is. And this, honestly, this episode right here is one of the best episodes. Tony's response, using his frustration to kind of. Tony could have just stuck to his no here. In fairness to Johnny Sack, when he gets pissed off later, Tony like uses this as an opportunity to get more stuff, and then later, kind of, he gives Johnny some major mafia blue balls, Matt, and that's not nice. It's not nice of Johnny Ball Sack to give. Oh,
so when I was away, I missed Christopher getting out. Is that what I missed?
Yes.
Okay.
And I do have to say something I don't think we've ever talked about, but it's ridiculous to me that Johnny Sack has this. Johnny Sack has the same last name as our former principal,
Peter B.
And funny side story, there was a video, like the first graduation that was videoed, which would be Matt's sister's, Michelle's graduation, the year I graduated. I turned to the camera, and this went live on public access all over the town. And our principal's name was he's rest in peace, Peter Ballsack, not Ballsack, Peter Sack. And people used to joke and call him Ballsack. And I turned and I held my diploma because I had got kicked out the year before, or 2 years before. Deservedly for a big bag of weed. And I showed my diploma and I go, "It's real. I graduated. He signed it. Ballsack signed it." And whoever did the editing on the video that went out on public access television for like months on the TV channel didn't edit that out, kept me calling him Ballsack in the video. And that was, I remember my cousin Craig and Alan calling me at the time, being like, "You call him Ballsack on public access television." I'm like, "Oh, whoops." Like, I didn't think they were going to air that. And they did. So Christopher showing he could be a model.
Yeah.
So
it's a little weird. See, this is something I didn't love here either. That Christopher just gets out of rehab.
Have fun, Dev.
Has had all these issues. Yeah, good. Well, I'd say good luck, but I'm sure you're in charge, Devin.
Yeah. Devin's gonna rule whatever game he's playing. So
Devin goes to ruin people's lives. But it's weird that he tells that to Christopher right away. Like, Christopher blew all of this.
Do you think at this point, I just want to fuel what you're saying. Do you think at this point Tony still intends Christopher to be his successor?
Why would he tell him that shit about Johnny right there? There's no reason to.
Because I think
he didn't tell anyone else. Does he tell anyone else?
Maybe Sil. I think at this point Christopher.
Well, he must have told. But do you think Benny Faziano and them know, because they're the ones that end up killing the.
They just know, hey, there's a piece of fucking pizza
they
over
know,
there.
They know that we gave that guy money for something and we need it back.
They know there's a piece of pizza over there. Go get it. That's all they need to know.
This guy is a fucking tool.
This guy is great, though. One of those minor roles in The Sopranos that's very memorable. Yeah. Very memorable. I feel like I know this guy. I think he was. I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe he was in the Look Who's Talking movies, playing the actual father of the Bruce Willis baby that John Travolta ends up eventually raising. But this is the guy that gets Kirstie Alley pregnant.
Interesting that Bruce Willis and John Travolta were together
in that movie. I agree. That is a kind of funny crossover that the two of them considering their Pulp Fiction connection. But I believe that's the same actor that plays the guy who got Kirstie Alley actually pregnant in the first Look Who's Talking movie. Like, he plays a dink in that too as well. Like a complete businessman dink. He plays this character. And I think that's one of the things The Sopranos, I was talking about it with Paulie earlier. People always say, "Oh, that's, Gotti and I were talking. Gotti's been doing a rewatch and messaging me about it." And I think one thing he said and mentioned is, The Sopranos have a few like one-off actors that are in one part and you don't see them in anything else. And I think David Chase or his casting agents did really well picking out people to play this one part here, this one thing here. And maybe they didn't have big careers or they didn't do a lot of shit, but they were so perfect in that one little thing.
And some of them did have big careers, like the guy from Rock that is the cop that gets.
Oh yeah, that dude. Yeah, yep. I don't know his act. I know him as Rock. That's why.
I know him as Rock too.
So AJ is in full douche nards mood. But yeah, this is the AJ to me that seems the most believable human being. And I do want to mention this, Matt. I know it means you're here with me longer. This is the longest Sopranos episode.
Ever?
Yeah, it's 71 minutes, I believe.
This is also probably the Sopranos fully realized at this point of what, accepting how big they are, being able to like deal with how big they are as a show. I think knowing what the expectations are at this point.
And I think there was a big break between season 4 and season 5.
They're also probably getting funded well enough now that there's no limits as to where they can shoot. There's no.
This is the height of the main. And to your point, Matt, this is the height of the mainstream Soprano success.
Yeah, I'd say they probably the viewership probably stays this way all the way through season 5. Season 6, I'm sure it dropped off
because there was that long break between. If you remember correctly, there was rumors that it wasn't coming back. I remember, and
Gandolfini held out for a lot more money,
and he held out with money for the rest of the cast and stuff like that. These guys are a very small role, but they do very well in this small part. They're dynamic with Christopher about being one of his ex.
I'm now way too conscious that I've said that word twice, and I'm not saying it again.
Oh, don't. But I think they play this part exceptionally well. And from the beginning, you kind of know that these guys are dead.
Yeah. And, well, the thing is this, too. Tony probably doesn't know they're dead. I'm sure Christopher keeps that money that he takes back off of them because he tells Tony, I'm going to go give them, a percentage of it and get the rest back. And then he takes all the money back from them.
Yeah, or as much as he gives them the second time. I mean, I'm sure he pays Benny and all that, dude. Okay, so here we go. This is a big, big, big Soprano scene. Let's take. I'm gonna be a little quiet here and watch.
Everyone else, turn the volume up.
This is some of the best acting Edie Falco has ever done in her life. Coming up here, and it's Arena's best scene too. It's totally Arena's best scene, not just because she looks really great in that robe. But her acting is a lot better in this scene. I don't know if it's because she's playing drunk or the content of it, but this is a very believable kind of interaction. Bam, hang up. Right, you can feel the stomach pain. Anyone who's ever been in a situation where they've caught a partner cheating or heard that information, I definitely have. And I'm not going to speak for Matt, but I think Matt has too.
What? I'm sorry, I was reading the chat.
Been in a situation where you find out someone you're really connected with and you love has cheated. Like that, you feel it's like a gut punch. You really.
Phil, you were probably there that night at Russian's house.
I was there.
That was one night that it happened. It's happened other times.
It's funny. I'm in a band with Matt's brother. And I almost mentioned that the other evening because Jeff came up and we were trashing Jeff, and I was almost gonna and Mitch was like, "Oh, why are you guys trashing that kid?" And I was always like, "Oh, and you don't know what he did to your brother."
Ask your brother about it.
Yeah, he's a dude. Your brother will bitch about him for 20 minutes. But anyways, it was just some kind of a funny moment where I thought to myself, should I say it? No, I was like, no, Matt, worlds colliding for Matt here. You might know this information out there about about his personal situation with the drummer. But anyways, this is such a great moment, the way Edie plays this, because when you get that feeling, and that's what I'm saying, Matt, I know you felt it, Matt. I felt this too. You feel it in your body. It's internal like that. And the way Edie plays this is so goddamn believable. And then Tony, they take a very stereotypical scene here as Tony's coming back in listening to Cream.
No, it's not even. It's
just Clapton.
It's just later Stephanie's Clapton, yeah. And it's exactly what Tony would be listening to.
I know. We're coming in. That or Pink Floyd. I know, it's a car crash. And Tony is... I would say we've had a couple of episodes here where we've talked a lot about many characters, Matt, but we haven't mentioned Gandolfini too much in these 2 episodes. Gandolfini, his discovery in this episode, from this point on the episode, is pure perfect Tony. And right here, when he doesn't know why she's upset, and he's still being like selfishly stupid. And he's like, is it about the psoriasis? Like, what's going on? Like, what's the matter, Carm? Let's just hug it out.
And then the rest of, well, it's not the whole rest of the episode. Oh, God, I thought this episode was over. We're not even.
No, dude.
We've got 50 minutes left.
Yeah.
But this here, I mean, this is the scene. This is the scene of when people point back to great scenes in this series. This is it.
This is maybe one of the absolute best.
I was just trying to be honest with her.
Yeah, right here. Like, come on, I'm just trying to be honest.
You have made a fool of me for years with these whores. Now it's
Look at her eyes. Like, this is so
the Russian called.
believable.
Son answered the telephone.
Like, she is. There's a moment. Like,
And see, Tony right now still thinks like that's Arena. I'm done with her.
yeah, he thinks that. Great point, Matt. Tony thinks he's in the.
Tony's like nothing's blown yet.
Yeah, what the fuck?
She knows I'm done with her.
What have I done? Right there. Oh, damn. The Gandolfini,
Mother, who I liked.
who we talked about, alopecia.
About your mother's alopecia and her bad lupus, who you told me came from an agent.
That's such a great line. Underrated line right there.
The night your mother died.
Like, Matt, we're music fans. When you see a performer in the moment, like truly in the moment, letting it go, it's such a beautiful thing to see. You see it more in music. You see it sometimes in acting. Edie is 100% in this moment. She is feeling pain right there. She is fucking feeling pain. This is not acting. She is drawing on something.
You can just imagine if they had to, how many times they had to shoot this, how drained by the end both of them are.
Yeah. And they're both just really playing real emotions here. And they were talking about this on the Talking Sopranos, but I'll say it again. This is acting class. You want to be a good actor? Watch this goddamn scene over and over again.
You're right. The sweating on Tony, like even when it starts.
One-legged one now, huh?
Yeah, you had a one-legged one. Now, I've been.
And you get the impression that Tony's never had her. This is the first. For
This,
him.
yeah,
With her this
100%.
angry.
You've been in breakup fights, Matt. I've been in 8-hour breakup fights, 16-hour like horrible fights and arguments. I know you have too. This is so believable.
It's been a long time, but yeah.
Right? No, you like. I'm not.
But
even,
I have.
I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. Your wife is one of the best humans I've ever met. Like but I know some of your past romances. Like
they're not the best choices.
You've been in fights like this, and this is so goddamn believable. This is so. It's like making me cry that it's so believable. You know what I mean? It's
this right here. That moment right there, where she says to him, "I know you found the fingernail."
You demented. You demented, Tony.
But she goes, she says to him though, she goes, "You saw it. I know you did. I found that fingernail." And he goes, because that wasn't her fingernail. That was what's her name's fingernail. That was Ralphie's girlfriend.
Yeah, it was what's her name? Oh God, I'm blanking.
The one that ends up getting burned. But he's like, but he says that's, and he went to almost be like, "See, you know I didn't bang the Russian." And then he just realizes, oh fuck, that was someone else, and he had to just stop.
What is her name? Well, we'll think about it in a second here. And Tony biting his tongue, staying silent. Yeah, in that moment, him calling her out. Take a polygraph. Shut up. Oh, Tony throwing the polygraph.
And the way he says it, I did not carry on with a cousin. He doesn't say anything about like with anyone else.
Nope. And he specifically says I didn't carry on a relationship. Not that I didn't fuck her once.
Yeah.
I didn't carry on a relationship with her.
What about the kids?
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah, what is Tony's current Gumar's name? Because he's still seeing her. Like we saw her, we didn't see her at all in that situation.
Yeah, right, something La Paz. But if someone can tell us what her name is, the one that likes to play pranks.
Now, everyone, we have my co-host my co-host, the one and only, the amazing Tony Teflon in the live chat. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to Teflon TV, my second home over there, and my partner in crime, Teflon TV. Teflon says, I had fights like this. Most times someone gets locked up. Yeah, exactly. I've definitely had fights like this. And most times someone gets locked out of the house or the cops get called and stuff like that.
Tony's got a weird thing for the cousin with the one leg. Like he never would yell at her. He's got so much respect for her.
Dude, and she can give it to Tony. Like he comes in so hot here and she just backs him down. She just Valentina, thank you, John Haymaker.
100% it's Valentina.
Thank you, John Haymaker. We got the Don Tony Teflon in the live chat. As I said, Tony and I will be back doing some From stuff ASAP, probably after both of our vacations. And make sure if you haven't already, you subscribe to Teflon TV. But most likely, if you're over here, you're already subscribed to Teflon TV because you found me through him, or Carmine or Preston. It's one of those three people you found me through. I love that. I love that it always does. It always does. When you get busted doing shit, it always comes down to FICA or federal withholdings or something like that.
Always.
Something
Goddamn
stupid
FICA.
like that, or Sarah B. One of that. It comes down to either that or Sarah B. One of those situations, and I love how she's great. This is her last appearance. They mentioned this on the Talking Sopranos. I want to say it here too. We were talking about those little characters that make a big difference on a show. She is so much more of a force on the show than her cousin is, who's actually the Gumar.
Oh, yeah. She's amazing.
She's one of the best bit characters that we have on this show.
You and I have talked because we've spent enough time around Russians. Like off the
boat. A lot.
She like late nights with Russians.
Yeah, that's I mean, we're not doing like hyperbole. Like we've spent a lot of loud vodka argument nights with a lot of
and that's
Russian.
with one together, and then other ones I've known, like, you know,
and she's one of the most
Mike E. we went to school with.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So it's like all of them. She exudes Russianness.
The two Julie Gorn, like a lot of people, like we had a lot.
For me, Kogan, like, you know.
Yeah, Kogan. Like, yeah, we've had a lot of interest, and she is so authentically.
Everything is the most
she's
Russianness.
She's so authentically plays Russian that it's not even funny.
In a way most of us couldn't pull off. Like, we're way too wussy Americans to pull off being that Russian.
Teflon says, when you cheat on someone you care about, your intentions aren't to hurt them. It doesn't mean anything to you. So to see someone in that much pain really hurts you, but you got to try to lie to protect that situation and perpetuate. It's like treading water. You have weights, Tony. It's like you have weights on your leg, and Jaws is down there biting at you, and you're like treading water. In my most recent breakup situation that I fucked up a situation, once I knew I messed it up, I started sinking into the shark, and I'm like swimming. I'm like, I'm gonna swim my way up here, and swimming just made me sink quicker. So Adriana's not in a lot of this episode, but we do contrast her here in this moment as she's starting to have a more comfortable relationship with the feds, you could say. At this point, she's digging her own grave. When you were watching this show for the first time, Matt, what did you think Adriana's fate was going to be? Did you think she was going to get away, or did you think, they're going to kill her?
That's a good question.
Did it legitimately surprise you when she got killed on the show?
Yes. In that episode, yes, because I legit thought they were leaving.
So,
or I thought that Christopher legit tried to kill himself. I actually believed that at first.
Yeah.
Because I could see any of that really happening.
So again, I repeat that question. How did you think? Did you speculate at all at this point how they were going to end the Adriana storyline? Because I got to admit, I always thought she'd get away. I don't know why. I always thought she'd get away.
Right, and I even thought if shit got real enough, she would take off by herself.
Yeah.
Like, if it got real, she could just leave at any point. Like, she wouldn't stick around and, like...
We got in the live chat. Thank you, Tony, so much for popping on in there. Even when you know you're caught dead to... Yeah, absolutely. It's Eddie Murphy does... It's a joke, but he does that very well in Raw. You know, walking... You know, the guy walking out the Dick Hard's rock record... Run down, it wasn't me. Yes, I fucked her. But let's examine the word fuck here for a second. Fuck, yes, I did. Listen, I make love to you. That's it. I make love to you. I knew she would die because she took that chop on the Joey spinoff. Whoa, dude. Whoa. Listen, whoa. Listen, there's two big woes. There's that woe, and then there's the Keanu woe. So this douche turds, motherfucker, this dude right here, comes out of nowhere and bothers Tony. But he does give Tony some good advice in this situation about polluting all the divorce attorneys.
Well, because he's enough of a scumbag. This is his third marriage.
Yeah, but this guy is a stupid fuck though, Matt. This guy's a dumb fuck.
Oh, of course he is.
But
he's enough of just like a type A douchebag with a lot of money that thinks like, I'm not actually scared of the mafia. Like thinks that in his head.
Yeah, they're not going to actually hurt me.
Yeah, and they don't, but it's only because they don't make him.
No, but they do really mess with him.
They let him know he's not going to win, but at any point they could actually just make him disappear. Like,
no, he lives next door and he's the owner. He has every right to kind of be pissed off at Tony for breaking in there and living there. And why didn't Tony just go to the Bing or something like that? It's kind of a weird choice that Tony chooses to go to the house he didn't buy yet and break into it and go and sleep in there when he doesn't intend to actually buy the house. It's kind of a weird move by Tony, but I accept it.
But here's the thing.
He went to his boat.
At this point here, doesn't think that he's actually getting divorced and breaking up with Carmela. He thinks she's going to get over it in a day or two. He doesn't want anyone to bang. He doesn't want anyone to know that this is happening. That's like such an embarrassment.
That's an excellent point. That's an excellent point, Matt. He doesn't really get aggro about this whole situation till Carmela in the next scene, because you think this fight is over. There's part 2 to it, Electric Boogaloo, where she drops the Furio bomb on him. And once she does that, and that is the craziest moment, because even if you're the liar and the cheater, which I've been in the situation, when you're face back and then your girl turns to you and goes, "Yeah, I've been in love with this other guy," it's still is it's like riding the Tower of Terror ride at Disney. You're sinking down as fast as you could. You're like, holy what that you never imagine that. And that's on either side. If you're somebody that's cheating, you never imagine the other person could be doing the same thing. And that's because you're so worried about protecting your own ass.
We had 2 orphans, you and the Kims. So what about them?
My ex-wife, we went 12 years round after round after round. Whoa, that's a weird cloud of smoke.
You guys were there together for 12 years?
12 years. We were only married for 3, but we lived together for 12 years. 11 and a half.
Really?
Yeah, we lived together almost.
Oh shit! You guys were you were both at my wedding, and that was 13 years ago. So, yeah,
that was early.
14 years ago coming up.
Yeah, that was early on in our relationship.
That was early on, but that was 3 years into my relationship, which makes your whole timeline correct.
Yep, that's about right. Let him out. If the mafia guy smiles at you awkwardly, I'm kind of a prickly asshole. But if a mafia guy smiles at me awkwardly and says, "Let me out of this thing,"
you're like, you know who he is.
Like, what the fuck are you doing, Matt? Like, seriously. Like, what are you doing? We had a teacher, and I mentioned this before, but we had a teacher in high school.
Teacher?
Yes, named Mr. Same last name as Matt. Mr. K, we'll call him.
Oh, yeah.
And Mr. K, we've mentioned before that we went to school with a daughter of a known mafioso. The son of the mafioso.
Hold on. Daughter of a known head of the mafia.
Right, where I'm not underselling.
Literally equivalent of Tony.
Right,
he's the equivalent of Tony.
I'm not underselling that this guy was the Don of the New England family. So we don't have to say names, but we'll just say that. So his son also went to school. This teacher took a squirt gun out of his desk, squirted this kid, the son of this guy, in the face a couple of times, threw the squirt gun at him, and said, "You're going to need that in your father's line of business."
That's insane.
It's insane. This teacher was eventually fired for being insane, but he was still a good English teacher. He was a very good English teacher. My highlight of having him was
I didn't have him. But
he almost had a Robin Williams vibe, like he wanted to be a comic or a comedian or something, and it just didn't quite work for him. But he straight up did that. I've heard that story several times. He went to the hotel because he knew he wasn't wrong. He didn't want his son to turn on his mom. I didn't want his son to end like him. And I'll say this about Tony. There's a whole situation with Carmela. He doesn't badmouth her. He doesn't let AJ shit on her, really.
You know what? In the interest of putting this shit to bed.
Do you wish... I kind of wish we got a little bit more Carmine. I think he plays a good mafia boss. Old fish lips here. Look at Johnny Sack, you wormy cocksucker. So does Tony go through with it if Carmine doesn't settle?
I want you always to remember that. Even after I'm gone.
Yeah, because it's going to escalate into something else if it doesn't.
He's a fucking rhino.
I wish the Lord would take me down. He does ask for his 200K back. Again, this dude should have just given him his 200K back. That dude owns that house. He owns 2 houses on the goddamn Jersey Shore. I'm struggling to pay my rent every month. This dude owns 2 houses on the goddamn Jersey Shore. He can give up the $200 grand.
Why would you want to live next to Tony anyways? That sounds terrible.
Sorry, I'm distracted for something. I'm distracted by the obvious Snapple ad in this scene right here.
Just keep thinking.
I suddenly want to diet Snapple, Matt.
I used to feel so superior because so many of my friends at these
So
places had the worst parents.
she's all over the place. She's a great manipulator herself. She says what she needs to say to Carmela to placate her, and she says what she needs to say to Tony on the backside too.
We'd all be together on the holidays.
We needed more Carmine. Okay, in the live chat, anyone who's watching, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We'd really
He
do
said
appreciate
little Carmine. He says
Little
he needs
Carmine.
Little Carmine.
What characters in The Sopranos would you have liked more of? Someone said Little Carmine. Are there any characters throughout the run of The Sopranos you wish we got more of that particular character?
Beansy.
Beansy? You kind of wish we had more Beansy?
No, we could have had more Richie. Richie could have been around.
Do
for a
you?
while.
Okay, I mean, I know we're in a different hemisphere right here. Do you wish that Janice didn't kill Richie and we saw where that played out?
Who said anything about Furio?
No, well, the only thing is that was coming to a head anyways. It wasn't gonna last long. I mean, they were getting to there was no solution to that. He was gonna get killed by Tony. Tony was ready. Now when I think back of it, Tony was gonna kill him anyways.
Right, so it was a comment.
Janice kind of let him off the hook.
Oh, she totally let him off the hook. Teflon said 200K is hard to give up, but he intends to give him up. I think what he's doing in that scene isn't so much about the money because he doesn't really need it. Because I agree, 200K would
No,
be
and
tough to
he's gonna get the 200K from someone else. It's not like he's not gonna get it.
It's
Someone else is
just
gonna
about
give
being
it
a
to him.
badass and sticking it to the mafioso and
Yeah.
being like, I'm not afraid of guys like this.
Deal's a deal. Yeah, I've worked with guys like that forever.
Oh, and here he is, Adi motherfucking Bucco. This is the healing of the. But I agree with you to a certain extent. Tony says Richie as well. I think Richie is the one that you could have seen a universe where that character has a bigger run. Jason V. Great to see Jason V in the live chat.
And Phil, we know you. If you had your way, you would have wanted Olivia forever.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that I would have wanted Olivia forever.
Why did I even bring her up? I shouldn't have even brought her
No,
up.
you
because I
should have,
didn't know.
because that's a good point. I don't think I would have wanted Olivia forever, Matt. What I would have wanted was Olivia's storyline to end when it should have ended, and then it wouldn't have fucked up season 3 and given us too much Jackie Jr. We would have actually got the Olivia ratting against Tony storyline because of the plane tickets, and eventually the culmination of season 3 would have been Tony killing Olivia. And I do think that would have been an interesting storyline to have seen finish. That's all I'm saying about the Olivia stuff. Forget my crush on Nancy Marchand, and I rewatched.
Which is a real thing.
Dude, she's crazy. And I mean, I saw her Cheers episode recently, and let me tell you. Anyways, so more Artie. John Haymaker says more Artie. Artie's great. Paulie, fuck you. Fuck you, Paulie. I'm done. I'm done worrying about. We're 2 hours in here. Fuck you, Paulie. Fuck you. He's awful. Not awful. Like, the character isn't awful. It's well played by Tony Sirico, but Paulie is like the worst kind of douche. I think The Sopranos would have been much better with Tony Teflon on screen. And if you want to see Tony Teflon on screen, you can watch him in 2 different movies. I'm gonna talk Tony's praises here. You can see him in Private Parts, the Howard Stern movie, or you can see him in the severely underrated, one of the greatest movies of all time, Carlito's Way, which I'm so of all the things, Tony's one of my close. a close friend of mine and podcasting partner, but I am so envious that Tony was in one of my favorite movies of all time, Carlito's Way. So you can see Tony Teflon in Carlito's Way as well. The only movie you can see me in is that Larry David HBO movie, Clear History. You can see me in the background at a Chicago concert behind Jeff B. He wouldn't care if I said his name. Jeff B. rhymes with ass. But you could see me in the background of a scene. But yeah, thank you for that super chat donation, Kelly Johnson. But yeah, if you want to see Tony in a movie, check out Carlito's Way or Private Parts. I mean, in fairness, do you think this guy just gets off on being able to talk shit back to a mafia guy? You think that's what this is all about?
He wants to keep the $200,000 and win. He's an asshole who's used to winning.
No, I guess that's more akin to what like Tony was saying too. I guess it is about the $200,000 and winning. It's hard. You have that $200,000 in your pocket. As Tony was saying, it's like hard to give it up. It's hard to give it up in that situation. I think that's definitely the case, John Haymaker. That's why I'm lucky he's on my side. Okay, this is low-key, almost even better scene. Like, every time they argue, and I love how this argument builds to a point where they start picking apart these little shits from, like, randomly, like, you said this a million years ago. Because, again, those are those believable things that actually happens in fights. You bring up shit that you said 20 years ago. You're like, remember 15 years ago when you said that my knee sucked and, or I don't know, stupid shit.
I have an appointment with a lawyer, Tony. I will get a restraining order.
Oh, go ahead. So at this point, Tony's already gone around. We don't see him doing it, but at this point, Tony has already gone to all the lawyers in the area. And he knows
she doesn't have a lawyer, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, go ahead. I've gone to every lawyer in the whole state. Is this the most violent he gets with her?
You thought that, wouldn't you? I'm not leaving here, Carmela.
I don't love you anymore.
That's a big one.
You are not sleeping in my bed, Tony.
That's a big one. That hurts hurts so bad when somebody says that to you. And I love how...
And let's be real, she does still love him. There's no way around that. She just knows that she can say that to him.
Right now. And I think she really wants out at this moment. But, like, I love how Tony's reaction... I don't love it, but if it's interesting how Tony's reaction is to make a sandwich in that moment.
Well, obviously.
This is my house.
So, like in most separations, and I've been through this shit before, the first step is, okay, I'll move to another part of the house. That'll work.
What time is it? You just getting home? Oh, we were studying.
Fuck AJ.
Oh, yeah? From now on, I'm going to take a bigger hand in
It is the worst pain. When someone turns to you and says that, your whole world starts crushing down in that moment. It's an insane pain. And even if you're the one at fault, even if you fucked up like Tony's fucked up a million times, it still really hurts. But it doesn't hurt as much as what's about to happen to Tony in the next argument that happened. When he's
round three.
Round three, when the ponytailed motherfucker comes up. Oh no! In a weird way, this is so reminiscent of my 2020. There was a point in time where I got off the phone with Tony Teflon crying, and I inflated a rubber bed sleeping in a trashy apartment, being like, "It's over, it's all over."
Well, that's another part of it. It's not only the pain of them saying that to you, but if it was your fault, just your hatred of yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. But even if it's not 100% your fault, in that moment you start blaming yourself. But I wonder if Tony does. I think Tony right now is not really that kind of. I don't think Tony is ever a person that takes responsibility.
He knows he fucked up, but he just doesn't. He sees what he does as literally what every guy he's ever known in his life outside of Bobby Robin doing the same thing.
And it's poor me for having to get a wife that's giving me shit about this stuff.
Yeah. Everyone I know has done this forever.
And she should know. She grew up around guys like me. She should know that this is what happens. Like, what the fuck, Carmela? Like, but that's what I'm saying. Tony doesn't really feel... Like, I've fucked up and I felt bad. Tony doesn't really feel bad. Mr. Soprano here does not feel a lick of bad. It's what's the song? You're not sorry what you're just sorry that you're caught. You know, like you brought up such a show. Thought I have to go. Sorry, but no, he's just sorry that he got caught. That's it.
Yeah. There's never a point when he's not going to cheat on her again.
No. And even at the end, even in season 5, when they get back together, they have this like dinner where they discuss.
But again,
terms.
not to defend him, but like that's literally all he knows. He doesn't know anyone in his life who never cheated on their wife.
I mean,
nobody.
I'm not defending him in that situation, but yeah, I mean, when he's basically defining that he needs an open relationship, but he doesn't want to let her do anything.
Of course not.
So Benny Fazio, Criminal Mastermind's about to come out here.
Yeah.
And
who? I think the other one's just a him.
Yeah. Benny's everywhere, especially climbing through Doogie Howser's window.
That's a very unbelievable scene because they wouldn't be shooting
at each other.
They wouldn't shoot
at each other.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know a lot about firearms, but I'm gonna say that wouldn't be the brightest way to start shooting. Like back.
Well, right, and he's a criminal mastermind, so he would obviously do the right thing at that point.
Yeah, John Havik. Listen to Mr. Mob Boss. Go ahead.
Oh no, that's what Carmela. No, Meadow says that to him. Listen to Mr. Mob Boss. I don't know if that's this episode or when it is, or she already said it.
Gotti says, in second opinion, when Polly tells Patsy to search for Christopher's wire, Syl says New York reopened the books, but they also laid it down probationary period. Why is New York deciding when the Soprano family can open the book? Because I think ultimately the Soprano family is a offshoot similar to the fact that this New England family that Matt and I were talking about that we have some sort of connection with is an offshoot of the Lupazzi family, or not the Lupazzi family, the Gianese family or something like that. Like it's connected to that. Like most of it is all those offshoots from those 5 New York families.
Yeah, and you can't just be giving out. You can't just be giving out people being made left and right. It's
I believe that the Sopranos are governed by the Lupazzi family, by that family. Lupazzi, thank you. I was about to burp. It was like I had trouble saying the full word because I was mid-burp. Bobby Bacala was the only one that did. As far as we know, Johnny Sack also didn't have a Guman.
That's correct. Johnny Sack would be the other one.
So I love how Tony is just like. First of all, this is one of the things that I feel like I've heard every person I've ever had a weird breakup with has said that line that Carmela says, but it's not a true line. It's so disingenuous. Like if you had just had a good attitude about this, I would have made this work. No, you wouldn't have. You're just saying that to dig in. And this might be my favorite of the 3 fights.
By the way, this is also made weirdly because he's still a fat fuck. This may be the most in shape Tony is at any point in this show.
I agree. I do think this is my favorite of the 3 fights. It's like the guitar solos and the Pink Floyd song "Dogs." Like this is my favorite of the fights. This is the big climax Gilmore solo, the best verse in the song. Tony is so cocky and in control and obstinate about this whole situation till she tells him about Furio. There's a big change in him once she throws that down in about a minute here.
I just need to say to a person headed into an MRI.
And he brings this back. Again, some of those reasons why Sopranos is at that table with The Wire and Breaking Bad and some other shows at that best of table.
You mean why Sopranos at the head of that table is what you mean.
I think there's arguments for all, and as I said, this will be a show that probably my deathbed show will be. I'm for here, everybody. It's Phil the Issues Guy. After my second stroke, we're gonna talk about our favorite series of all time. That's probably how it will go, but we'll see. Right here, this is an interesting moment. You knew the deal?
And Emily can talk what she wants about what's his name and his fucking chain of drugs.
He's so pissed off. He's so... Again, I relate to this shit. It's like, you know the game. It's all in the games, Carmela.
You really don't hear me, do you? You think for me it's all about things.
And Matt, I go back and forth. There's 3 or 4 series I go back and forth with. And The Sopranos is definitely one of them. It's The Sopranos, The Wire, Better Call Saul, Breaking Bad. And maybe Mad Men too. Like, those handful of series are in that conversation, sitting at that table. Game of Thrones, the first 4 seasons. Like, there's shows that are in the conversation. But to me, it ultimately comes down to 3. 3 are the top. I know
I've never seen The Wire, so I can't speak about The Wire.
The Wire is maybe the people that are Wire fans, they make a very good argument for that being the best of them all. The Wire, I'll talk about this. We'll wait till this episode ends, but because this is, I want to talk about this scene. I love the close up, how they focus in on Tony. But The Wire is the one that's punching the Sopranos out of that head of that seat, if anything is. Poor you. And this is when he just snaps. He goes aggro.
Yeah.
This is Gandolfini taking
Even
over.
with the one pin gone.
Even with the one, he just doesn't hold back. This is right here is the argument for The Sopranos. It's this character moment between these 2 characters that are giving you this believable life moment and 2 performances. Look at these. This is some of the best acting ever. No one could balance off him like her. And that's where The Sopranos is in some of the best casting of all time. Like, we could not,
except for Richie.
You would have liked Richie to be somebody else?
No, I'm saying Richie could balance off of Tony.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%.
Very different way. They never had to get.
It's funny.
He never got aggro. But that's what made Richie so amazing is he did it. He did it with his low voice.
Think about this.
Had to really raise it.
Great line by Edie. The 1,000 other pigs you had your dick in. Are you all best friends with them? Oh my god. But again, I don't know 2 other actors this side of Ted Danson and Shelley Long that could argue this believably. Like, Shelley Long and Ted Danson on Cheers, I know it's a comedy, but they had this magic chemistry. Maybe Sybil Shepherd and Bruce Willis on Moonlighting. Like, that is one of the, but again, that's more comedic arguing. That is real arguing. And this is our only sight of Lorraine Bracco.
Hello?
Jay, I was talking about best series in general, but the problem with that is most of those would be HBO series. I think the other ones that pop up would be, at this point in time, Apple Plus shows. I know Severance is only 1 season, but if that keeps up...
I will also... There's 2 other shows I put up there. Is
The Americans you like?
The Americans is one of them, but it's... See, this is the problem with The Americans, though, is it's the same thing I would say about The Wire, although you won't believe me.
You haven't watched it, so don't talk about it.
Okay, but here's my point about it. It doesn't have the cultural relevance.
Oh, it absolutely does.
It does not. You don't. Is there a Wire Reddit right now where people are losing their mind? Is there a sea?
Okay.
Is there an endless sea of Wire memes?
Do you think the best? Do you think the best musicians in the world are the ones that have the biggest hit songs? Or are they underground musicians that might not have got quite the fan base at the time, but ultimately got discovered over time? The Wire is like Praxis. The Wire is like Oysterhead. It's not gonna be. Number one.
The Wire is Praxis. First of all, where are you coming up with Praxis from?
Just ultimately talented, but not gonna give you a hit.
Sure. But are you trying to equate the Praxis as being as good as the Beatles? Is what you're trying to do right now? And
as a musical level, like as in the sense, but I wouldn't say that you can't necessarily judge.
By the way, people, if you've never heard Praxis before,
They're fucking great. Bootsy Collins.
It's Bootsy Collins and Buckethead and a whole bunch of weird shit for
one of the
worth
best
checking out.
One of the best fucking bands ever. Praxis is fucking incredible. It's some fusion funk jazz kind of shit. It's
next time you see my brother, if he's never heard it, play him some Praxis because he would love that.
Yeah, but Praxis is underrated. It's Bootsy at his best. I know he kills in P-Funk, but I think Praxis is like Bootsy not holding back at all.
No, and the reason that you're right in that, Phil, is because like the Americans didn't have that impact. This other show I watched that I consider to be almost that good is called Babylon.
How many
Berlin.
shows had that impact? The Sopranos had that impact.
Breaking Bad did.
Breaking Bad for a minute. The Game of Thrones had that impact.
Mad Men might have. I don't know.
I don't think really had that impact I'm talking about.
My wife watches The West Wing.
Seinfeld had that impact for a moment.
Did The West Wing have that impact?
I don't think so. Not the impact I'm talking about. Like this.
Well, Simon Seinfeld definitely.
Simpsons had this impact at a point in time. This next level.
Yeah, but no one's putting Simpsons on the best list anymore.
No, but I'm saying
if they shut that shit down after 11 years.
If we're talking about cultural significant shows, there's these shows that are these big, huge, like the biggest show in the universe shows. Sopranos was one of those shows at a moment. In that Lost was for a second there too. The Wire.
Game of Thrones was
100% Game of Thrones was maybe bigger than any show ever. The Wire was never that, but that doesn't mean it wasn't better than all of them. In the sense of like the way it was structured, and that's why I compare it to something like
Phil, the same way I would say that the Americans.
The Walking Dead had it. The Walking Dead had it. Yes.
I would say Americans is better than Breaking Bad. I'd say Americans is better than a lot of different shows.
But
you're right. That didn't have cultural significance. No one's ever seen the fucking show.
Right.
But what it is on those lists of like best shows you've never seen.
The Wire was always up against being canceled. It had struggling getting an audience, but it was the best show ever made. From beginning to end, like the way it was structured, it just was so tight, and from beginning to end, in a lot of ways, it's the one that I have trouble making an argument against when it comes to The Sopranos. Breaking Bad, I can make that argument about The Sopranos being better than Breaking Bad. For me, it goes Better Call Saul 1. No, it go.
Don't do that. So you and I haven't talked about this. I didn't love Better Call Saul. I saw the whole thing.
Fair. We'll talk about that on a different day. So
let's focus on Tony and the peanut butter because that I relate to. If there's a reason I can't lose weight, it's because I will sit down and just eat peanut butter.
Breaking Bad might be my favorite show of all time, but it's close. To me, it goes back and forth between a handful. It goes back. I said though, Mad Men, Breaking Bad, Sopranos, Better Call Saul, The Wire. Those 5. That's my 5. Those 5 shows are the greatest 5 shows of all time, hands down. The list changes at times. Different ones are number 1 at different times. When I'm watching The Wire, I'm like, no show is better than this show. No show. When I'm watching season 3 and season 4 of The Wire, no show is better than that show. When I'm watching The Sopranos right now, seeing Janice and Bobby and Junior being pissed off and people being happy, no show is better than The Sopranos. When you're mid Breaking Bad, God damn it, nothing feels like that. The first time you watch Breaking Bad, the way that, because no show goes downhill or uphill the way Breaking Bad does, like picking up speed as it goes. To that point when you get to the end of that series and you're in that garage and Hank closes that garage door and
my God,
you're just like, fuck me. Like, what the flying fuck?
I will admit on some level that there is nothing in The Sopranos that
tops that. Yeah.
That topped the scene in the desert when
the Ozymandias stuff. And if you're a Game of Thrones fan, there's nothing that matches the Red Wedding or the Mountain versus the Viper moment or the Ned Stark moment in season 1. Like, those moments are just so incredibly television. Or I'm conveniently ignoring The Walking Dead, but someone said it earlier. The Walking Dead belongs in that list too. The Walking Dead had the audience by the balls for a long time. But
I don't think there's a person alive that would put it in the best shows of all time.
No, but it would be in that. That's a good example of what I'm saying, Matt. But it would be a cultural significant show. So therefore,
yeah, right. We can say that about.
So therefore,
no.
So therefore, using that as one of the Sopranos building blocks for a reason why it's the greatest show of all time.
Other things being
I would throw that out.
I'm saying all other things being equal, one of them has had a bigger cultural impact. I'm not saying overall because we could say we could sit here and say that fucking the Big Bang Theory is a bigger cultural phenomenon. I'm not going to say it's better. I'm not putting that here.
Right, and I guess that's what I'm saying, Matt. I'm making the argument that I agree with what you're saying, that The Sopranos has maybe more cultural impact than any show besides Game of Thrones. I would say Game of Thrones 1, Sopranos 2 for cultural impact, dramatic series on television. Game of Thrones really got everybody crazy for...
Well, Game of Thrones also had the luxury of coming out 15 years later when social media and everything was like...
It was an apex moment. I would say Sopranos is number 2 on that list. Friends, Cheers, Lost on that list too. But what I'm saying, it doesn't necessarily equate to quality all the time, is what I'm saying. Because I would put Walking Dead on that list too.
No, I 100% agree with you.
I tried Bookie, John Haymaker. I did like it. Not enough to kind of talk about it, but I thought it was fun.
Now, I will say this. I don't see it happening, but that season 1 of Severance is about as good as a season 1 is going to be of a show.
Yeah, I'm going to be talking about Severance. Teflon TV will be on. It might be the first time I can get you, Joe, and Tony all in the same place, and we're going to be doing it on Teflon TV and here, I believe, when Severance comes back.
Teflon, I 100% agree with you. Rome was also... I would have loved to have seen that show come out 5 years later, because the first season, there's a lot of low-budget stuff that happens.
You don't get Game of Thrones if you don't get Rome. It's that simple.
Yeah.
It's that damn simple.
I never watched 24, but you're right. That was
24.
Also cultural.
Heroes got it for a minute too. 24 and Heroes and Lost all are very important for the television era that we went into. That television apex that we got of the prestige television stage.
Let's watch this last scene.
Yeah, Johnny Sack, I gotta say, the look that he gives Tony from the car is one of the best looks I've ever seen in any episode ever. 100%. Tony mentions all ones that belong on that list: MASH, All in the Family, The Cosby Show, all big cultural landmark shows. We'll talk about all those in a moment.
This is very disappointing. I know. Original man. Come on, you gotta get your
Teflon TV, you doing the after show on your channel? I'm just drunk. I'm like, want to go. You probably have to work in the morning.
Tomorrow I go into work. Creeps on this petty piss. And I take orders from him.
I love how he quotes. I believe it's Macbeth. Johnny Sack is an underrated actor on this show. He this is one of his best scenes.
What I was going to say was, it's a major step. But if you want to do it without me as a partner, you do what you got to do.
Do you think Tony was... we mentioned this a few times. Tony was smart passing on this, right, Matt?
He what?
He was smart passing on killing a boss.
He has almost nothing to gain from it.
Why the fuck would I ever trust somebody who leave me holding my cock like this? Shouldn't have heard that either.
No, I think he has not just that. He has
the only upside to it.
Everything to lose.
John is his friend, but right now you're seeing that John isn't. That John's been playing him the whole time.
Right, and John could easily, and that's what I was talking about earlier, and they were talking about this on the Talking Sopranos. That's a lot of talking. That Johnny Sack could have been playing him this whole time, and he was going to sell him out to the 5 families afterwards, and walk away from this whole situation hands clean, and say that Tony killed Carmine because Carmine was gorging him on costs, not because Johnny asked him. And if Tony says, "Oh no, Johnny said this," he just looks like he's making excuses. Johnny was in a perfect position here. If Tony killed him, to be in a power position to either sell Tony out or not sell him out, but he had the opportunity to. That look right there is one of the best looks in the entire series.
And Tony still has to watch his back, because John could maybe want to clip Tony because Tony has heard this stuff, but he also doesn't know who Tony's told at this point.
So they mentioned this in the Talking Sopranos. I got to say that this is something I never thought about. They said that Tony didn't just decide to say I'm leaving the house at this moment because of what he says here. It's ultimately more because he's protecting himself, thinking that Johnny might make a move. So he wants to protect himself more in like a hotel or something and not put his family at risk. But it's interesting. Yeah.
And he does know that
That's something to say to your mother. I might as well tell you at the same time. It's almost over.
Shut the fucking TV off, you douchebag. You're a douchebag, AJ. You're like
listen, they didn't have TiVo back then yet everywhere.
This is the point where you they had on demand though, right? Was on demand a thing at this point?
He probably wasn't watching it though.
No, he can't pause it.
No, they must have on demand because that's how I was watching The Sopranos at this point.
Yeah, on demand was the thing. On demand was that middle ground before streaming that people forget about. And I watched a lot of The Sopranos on demand. I watched a lot of 6 Feet Under and Entourage and Sex and the City on demand. That was a big thing for a while.
I watched Rome on demand. I binged Rome completely on demand.
And they'd have some things that were only on demand, like special little clips and shit.
Because I wanted to stay in there with you? I won't ask. I just don't feel so.
Pretty good acting performance by your favorite actor there, AJ. Interesting that that Meadow happens to just be there too, so we have a full family moment to say goodbye. I mean, I think Tony.
My parents got divorced when I was in kindergarten, so I don't even. To me, it doesn't even make a big deal. The one from when lived there, like I just don't even understand that.
Yeah, I don't even know. Yeah, I didn't even.
Right, Phil. I mean, like, what do you know about?
Yeah, I don't even. This is completely a foreign concept to me. I'm like, parents? What are parents?
I'm like, why would my mom want to live with my dad? Gross.
I get my mom. I get the mafia connection. I get the selling drugs and betting and gambling and stuff. I don't get the mother father thing. Growing a mustache? No, I'm just not shaved. You know, so it's all growing in. I'm traveling to California next week, so I'm trying to time it out so my beard's growing in right when I'm leaving, so I don't have to shave the whole time I'm there. I'm going to visit producer Nick. Do you think? No.
Mellowfield's bad about being a little twat.
No, do you think Meadow's a good actress? Do you think Meadow and AJ are good actors?
I mean, you know my thoughts on AJ.
So the baseball hat, I was gonna say cowboy hat for some reason. The cleaver, it's not.
That would be wild if he was wearing a cowboy hat right now. That would be crazy.
I was gonna say the cleaver hat too. It's not a cleaver. Not time for cleaver yet. It's interesting that he's wearing the hat. It leads into my thought that maybe he is hiding or going half on the lamb here. He's not just leaving because
half on the lamb. But I guess, and I was wrong before when I said I didn't want anyone to know because they all knew when they were at Satriale's, the Bing, wherever they were. I guess that's the Bing.
This is definitely a long. This doesn't feel too long, but it's definitely a long episode. It comes off of like a little mini movie.
Yeah.
This is great. This whole thing with the Dean Martin stuff and. I mean,
they already did it once, right? Yeah, they must have.
Yeah, no, we were talking over the earlier part. And yeah, this would bother me too. It bothers me that my heater has this metal grinding sound sometimes. You know, so I can imagine how it would feel. And I like this song. I'm a big Rat Pack fan. MASH had another reunion.
Man, that's one of those reunions must just get smaller and smaller every year.
Is it like just Alan Alda right now? Like, oh no, Klinger's probably still around too, right? After MASH was actually a pretty good show. I actually liked After MASH. Were you a fan of MASH at all?
I never really watched MASH. My wife was.
I was more Cheers than MASH. I don't know why compared to the two shows.
Those are completely different time periods, Phil.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was a little too. MASH was more the show my mom watched. For some reason,
my mom watched Cheers. I didn't really watch Cheers.
Yeah, I watched.
It was on, but I watched it because it was on.
I watched Cheers a lot. I had a little crush.
Well, I've seen a lot of it because it was on all the time. You had a little crush for Rhea Perlman. Don't lie.
Oh, of course. I want to go where Danny DeVito goes. You know if someone can keep Danny DeVito happy for many years, I want to get a piece of that. Carla was impressive. Oh, it was on fire. Okay, I'll look it up. Joe is a very, very big MASH fan. He actually just rewatched it all and was talking about how much it held up and stuff. And that is the end of season 4.
Well, Phil, I don't think we did it in a year, but we did it within a year and a week.
Yeah, it's good enough, Matt. It's good enough.
370 days.
I'm confident that we'll get through season 5 this year. Maybe even get into season 6.
All right, slow down.
Hey, we're almost done. We're almost done, Matt. Norm.
Nah, because season 6, we're over halfway there. We're definitely over halfway there.
Teflon says, I didn't understand MASH, but I know of its importance. I guess that's kind of the thing with me, too. Like, I know why people liked it. I get it. I understand it. It just was a little before me. But I don't know about that because I do appreciate I Love Lucy and The Honeymooners, which were both shows that were before me, too. But I think both those shows were funny as fuck. But MASH, for some reason, never clicked with me. But I know Joe really loves MASH, like that's one of his favorite sitcoms of all time. And I get it. And it's the highest, I believe it's the highest rated episode ever is the series finale of MASH.
Well, it was at one point.
I think it still is. It's because the way television is now, you'll never see
right now you'd never have that moment again. Outside of Super Bowls, nothing's ever going to happen.
Besides the Super Bowl, I believe MASH is number 1. No, MASH is number 2. The JR thing, like Who Shot JR is number 1. MASH is number 2.
Right, well, let's just cut the bullshit and I'll look it up right now.
Cheers finale. This is my speculation that Who Shot JR is number 1. MASH finale is number 2. Cheers finale is number 3. And I think those are the 3 highest ratings besides the Super Bowl. Is my speculation. There's still 5 main characters that. Okay, cool, sweet. Norm.
I don't know how to Google. I don't know how to Google shit apparently.
You don't have to go. Are you having? You don't know how to goggle? You're having some beer goggles there. Highest rate. I believe I'm right. I could be wrong. I could have it mixed around. It could be MASH is number 1 and JR is number 2. I Love Lucy as well. Lucy cracked me up. I think especially the original run of I Love Lucy was really great. I love the original Honeymoon.
All right, you're right. I got it. Now,
do it. Tell me. Right. Who Shot JR has got to be number 1. That shit was Teflon.
It's not.
What's number 1? You fuck.
It's not even on the top.
You're wrong. You're wrong.
Number 1 is the Apollo 11 moon landing.
Oh, we're talking about television shows, you dumbass.
Okay, then there's a bunch of Super Bowls.
Yeah, fuck Super Bowls.
Richard Nixon's resignation.
We're talking about television goddamn shows.
Then there's MASH.
MASH finale. So MASH finale is number 1. Cheers number 2.
TV shows. Then Roots Part 8.
Okay, Roots.
Then The Day After, whatever the fuck that is from 19. Oh, that was that like nuclear.
These again, those are television movies. They're not what I'm talking about. So
sure. So let me keep going.
So MASH is number 1.
MASH final episode is number 1. Yes.
Who Shot JR is not even on the list. I don't buy that. I don't.
No,
this list is bullshit. Your list is bullshit, man.
It's the top 30 things, but I gotta focus on just.
Right, dude. I'm Googling too. Fuck this shit.
All right, no, I got it. Here it is. The highest rated broadcast of all time. This is Nielsen stuff. Okay, so MASH is number 1.
MASH number 1.
Who Shot?
JR is number 2. Yes, fuck you. JR is number 2.
Then Roots Part 8 was number 3. Then a couple. So I don't know.
Okay, what were you looking at? What the hell were you looking at?
Wikipedia page. The most watched broadcast of all time, and then I have the highest rated broadcast of all time. Different things. Okay. Then a bunch of Super Bowls, Winter Olympics, then like Gone with the Wind Part 1. Fuck that.
So our top television ones are are MASH number 1, JR number 2, and
part of Roots number 3, and then down to like we're not counting the Bob Hope Vietnam Christmas
and
show.
I believe Cheers is number 3.
Cheers One for the Road is the next like TV show, we can say.
Teflon, is Al Capone's Vault with Geraldo Rivera up there?
I'm not seeing it yet, but there's a bunch of Roots things. But if we're talking like regular TV shows that have like regular series,
right, not TV
then
movies.
Cheers One for the Road is number 3.
When we were kids, I know V got a lot of views too. I don't think it's on the list.
V did, and The Fugitive, The Judgment Part 2 from 1967. But again, that's not shit.
Did you watch V back in the day?
I remember seeing part of it, but it scared the shit out of me with the lizard people. Like I remember watching it. Yeah.
There was that hot lizard person and stuff like that. I remember it back.
Hey
now, hot lizard. Al Capone's Vault's got to be up there, Teflon. It's got to be fucking up there. So, Matt, I don't know how long I want to keep you here. I know you got to probably run pretty soon, but season 4, how do you feel ultimately about season 4? What would be your rankings of these first 4 seasons if you had to put the Soprano 4 seasons in a ranking order? For me, I'll do mine first. I would say 2, 4, 1, 3.
So I am so anti the pussy stuff that I'm gonna go 4.
4. So we're coming off your favorite season, which is close. It's my second favorite season.
I'd have to go see which episodes are in 2 and 3.
2 is a lot. I think 2 is a lot Olivia.
I know, which is why it's up there for you.
Yes.
2's a lot of Richie, which is great stuff.
Yes, it's a lot of Richie stuff too. It's Richie, Olivia, Janice is introduced, and Janice is a huge part of the season.
There's a lot of Paulie,
a lot of Junior.
Annoying AJ though. Maybe 4, 2, 3, 1. I'm a season 3. I like season 3, and you don't.
No, I like season 3. I think season 3 has some great episodes. I just think as an overall theme of a season, it's on the weak side. But anyways, Matt, I appreciate it. Happy New Year to everyone in the live chat. We do appreciate it, and I will be back soon. Joe and I might be on Sunday night. I got to talk to Joe during the snow emergency, but I don't know. I'm traveling next week. If anyone's out in Northern California, I'll be out there from the 10th to the 17th to get in touch, and we'll hang out and grab a drink. Matt, Happy New Year. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back sometime probably in February with the beginning of season 5. A season you don't really like. You don't like Steve Buscemi. Let's get through this right now.
That is erroneous.
You think Steve Buscemi's too big of a star for The Sopranos, and it takes you out of Tony B.
He's not believable as an Italian. That's my main thing.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, cuz I just don't like. I buy Joey.
Oh, do we have a voicemail? We do. Before we go, let's listen to our voicemail. Area code 403.
Yeah, this is a little undercover tip. I wanted to let you know that Tony Soprano is actually Marty McFly.
In the time traveling?
After being jumped forward in time. Because Doc Brown caused an accidental overload at the clock tower. And it crossed the timeline with the quantum leap guy. Sending Marty into the future right from the car.
Wait, Sam Beckett?
To the body of Tony Soprano.
Oh, no.
Think about it.
Wait.
Now, don't put my number out there because
I won't.
I kind of ratting out here. So
okay.
Keep it to yourself.
We will not do that because we'll not put you out there for the CIA or the NSA or any other initials that we want to put there.
Or Agent, what are the agents?
San Severino?
Yes. Agent Sanzarino.
We won't mess with you on that level, but I think you have some good points. Oh my goodness, we got a call. Jay, what's going on? You're actually on the air live talking to us for the first time in a long time. What's up, Jay?
Hey, what's up? Were you guys ranking best to worst or worst to best?
Best to worst.
I was saying 4 was the best. I don't know what Phil was saying. Phil was saying 1, 2.
2 is my favorite. How about you?
Your favorite season?
Yeah, have you actually watched The Sopranos? What's your favorite season?
I I was watching the episode because I was trying to find the scenes you guys were talking about in them. That's why I was saying, like, I wish you guys had put a time caption, because I was looking for, like, where's the helicopter at? I don't see a helicopter anywhere in any of these scenes. I was, like, fast-forwarding through the episode, trying to find the part where he's, like, standing next to a helicopter and drunk.
It's an airplane, not a helicopter. I fucked up. But to your point, Jay, I got to say this. First of all, Happy New Year. Thank you for always being an amazing caller. Number two, you are 100% correct. In the next time Matt and I do this, we will absolutely have a timer, because that we should 100% have that. There's no excuse that we don't have a timer.
No excuse.
And you are 100% right on that one. Jay, we love you, buddy. Thank you for being an amazing caller, as always. And
I was agreeing with Tony, because if you marry a mob boss, you know the deal with a mob boss or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, and I also thought, I didn't think Tony should have slept on an air mattress. I thought he should have been like, I don't care what you want to do with me. That's bed, and I'm going to sleep in it no matter what. If you don't want to sleep in it, you go sleep somewhere else.
Yeah, I love it. Talk to you soon, my buddy. Okay, that is our good buddy Jay, SMN down. Matt, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back in February, right? We'll do some shit.
Are we doing season 5 this year, the whole thing?
Yeah, we're gonna do season 5 the whole year.
Son of a bitch. All right.
And let's finish things off with a little music here. We'll talk to you guys next time. If you haven't already and you like this video, please hit the like button, please hit the subscribe button, share the channel with a friend, and enjoy a little bit of Two-Piece Trip. You have a week, Jackie C. We have a week to say Happy New Year. It's Tony.